Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 380. We have a lot to go over tonight, actually. And of course, had to bring in Sean on the couch. He's back. He's watching GCW.
I'm watching GCW.
But you know, he's taken time out of his very busy Saturday to be here.
It was busy. I had to make today's video. I had to make tomorrow's video because my uncle's birthday is tomorrow and we're having a thing over at grandma's for it. And then I would have done tomorrow's video after that, but I have to work on Monday's video.
Got it. Yeah, Sean has some big stuff coming up this week. He's playing modern games right now.
I beat. What are you talking about? I rolled credits.
He did.
Modern game.
I can't believe. I'm proud. I'm actually proud of him. He's back. Sean's back. He was in like this retro funk for a while. Now he's back up into the modern era.
But it didn't really make me want to come back.
He's gonna regress back.
Yeah, I know. Well, no. He surprised me. He said he was going to buy another modern game. Now he's from one to the next.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy Black Myth. Maybe I'll just buy it tomorrow.
I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. So yeah, Sean's back. He's back up in the modern century. It's good to see him here.
I don't know about buying Black Myth, Sean, for you. Might end up with like another Elden Ring thing, bro.
We'll talk about it a bit. We'll try to come to some kind of determination if it's a Sean game or not. But he has tried he's tried Demon Souls, he's tried Elden Ring. He at least gives it a shot and sees what happens.
I give it an honest chance. I feel like one of them has to click with me at some point.
Yeah.
And then you always say, I don't know why I keep buying these. I remember when Elden Ring came out, you said the same thing. Like, why do I keep buying these?
We have OJ with us tonight. Held a pre-show. Good to have OJ here.
Good to be here. What's up, guys?
Picked up Black Myth Wukong, so we'll be able to speak on that a bit.
Oh yeah,
well.
played a lot on PS5 and played a lot on PC. So.
Okay. We have Josie. Josie's with us tonight.
Yep, happy to be back.
You played the MEO demo?
I actually didn't have any time to do that, but
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to, but I'm about to beat Pokemon Snap, so.
The old school or the new Pokemon?
How do you like that?
The new one.
The newest one, yeah.
Okay.
How do you like that?
It's good. I keep thinking it's about to end, and then it doesn't. So
there's just another level.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of fun. I think it's a game that you have to you should be doing something else. Like I listen to a podcast while I play it usually. It's a little boring,
well,
I think.
The first one on the N64 was very much like that, to where you just play it and like you don't have to worry about any kind of storyline or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there's voice acting in it, and which is kind of cool. And it's like the prettiest Pokemon game we've ever had, so it looks nice.
Yeah, you should do that as like your retro, like the thing where you go back and play old games. Play the Pokemon Snap on the N64. So you should think about that.
Yeah, no, I might. I heard it's like 3 hours long. It's pretty short, right?
I really liked that game back in the day. There's like all these branching paths. There's like things you can do throughout the level to like evolve a Pokemon to get a picture of them and stuff. It was really cool back then. It was such a weird concept. Yeah.
You never played a picture taking game. Like that was what was interesting back then about it.
Yeah. It kind of feels like a on-rail shooter, but just like instead of killing the Pokemon, you're taking photos of them.
Killing Pokemon. It was very different. It was very different. So, but I mean, it's on that NSO app, so you can quickly fire that up and do a whole series. Basically, you'd beat it in like one stream, maybe 2 streams if you had to cut it short a little bit. So,
no, I totally will.
Well, I think one of the advantages of it was that was like the first 3D-ish game where you got to see like a little bit more of their personalities and their movements. As you know, it was before Coliseum and stuff like that. And then you had the kiosk at a Blockbuster where you could like print off stuff, your pictures and shit.
I heard about that. That's kind of cool.
Good.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
You didn't do that? You didn't do that, John?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Did you take your cartridge or take a memory card? You took a memory card?
No, memory card.
Oh,
yeah, you just take the memory card, plop it there, and boom, pictures.
That's I didn't do any of the kiosk stuff, but I saw it in like magazines and people would talk about it. So I didn't try it though. But yeah, that's one for the backlog then, Josie. The Pokemon Snap on N64.
Yeah, I'll totally check that one out.
Let's see. We got Ryan, Mr. Ryan, with us tonight.
Happy to be here.
Ryan taking his own trip through the past with some of these games, so he'll have a lot to say on that, I'm sure, in the future. But there's gonna be some interesting videos. He messaged me randomly. No, he messaged me like after he finished one and was like, "Why do people like this game?" I was like,
"That's not the language."
2004.
That is not the language I use, John. What did I say?
No, I provided the cleaned up version.
Wait, what game was that?
It was Black Site Area 51.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah, he's doing it. He's doing a bunch of.
I said, Jesus fucking Christ, Black Site Area 51 sucks.
Is that?
That
was the sequel.
Yeah,
that was the sequel to Area 50. Because
air quotes. It's not quite a sequel.
Because like the first one had like David Duchovny in it and shit, right? Was Marilyn Manson a voice actor in that game too?
Dude, I remember this game.
Pro tag.
I like the first Area 51 that was like the first person shooter. I don't think I ever played that one though. But that was actually, also back in the day.
I just finished the script for that last night, John. It's oh my god. I can't wait to upload that one.
That'll be funny.
Game's ridiculous.
The cult followings will be after you.
Oh, I started this one too. Naughty Bear.
Yeah, there it is.
Jesus Christ. This one too this is even jankier, dude. Runs at like 15 frames.
You just watch those bears, like the one bear, Matt. You saw the beginning, right? You saw what happened at the beginning. Yeah.
I thought there was more of a plot, to be honest. But
nope,
it really
he wasn't invited to the birthday party, so murderous intent.
It's just a playground of like just killing bears. It's so stupid.
It's crazy. In one scene, he like grabs the bear and shoves him into the circuit breaker box. Like it's crazy.
You can like run around and sabotage like the phone line, so when the other bears go to call the cops on you, they can't like figure out what's going on. That's when you go over and strangle them and shit.
Wait, what is this called?
Naughty Bear.
Oh my god, my brother had this game when we were kids.
See, look at that, Ryan tapping into nostalgia there.
Yeah, I'm like Sean right now. I'm playing a lot of retro stuff. I haven't gotten to Black Myth, haven't gotten to Concord, which I'm not doing at all.
Oh, that's your game right there.
You gotta do it now before it goes away. You gotta get that footage.
I didn't even bother playing the open beta for it. So
it's gotta go free to play first before it goes away.
So like a month, 2 months maybe.
They gotta do something because only the employees are playing right now. So.
Gosh,
they gotta do something.
The numbers.
And we have Evan with us tonight as well.
Nope.
Good to have Evan. Did you get Black Myth Wukong?
No, I've watched it. It does look good.
Oh,
Probably
I
not
think this is an Evan game. I think it is.
I'm gonna make a whiteboard that says specifically what I'm looking for. Is it multiplayer? Is it co-op? Is it competitive? Any of that? No, then I'm fine. But it's fun to watch and definitely not a Sean game. So
okay, we'll get to that. I did want to give a shout out to the Spawncast Network over on patreon.com/Spawncast. I got John O at the top here, Joshua Butts, Mr. Joby, Justin Maverick, the Game Orb, Trent A, and of course we have Sean's A Billion Cats. That's Sean's favorite patron member over there. Of course, you can support all the shows, includes Game and Talk. Josie was they had an interesting episode recently, so make sure you check that one out. We just did an episode. Sean did.
Banger.
I did. Against my will. Held at gunpoint.
It sounded like he was on drugs. Welcome back to Game and Talk, everybody. I'm so
okay,
excited
you
to be
told
here.
me to perk up like an
you
hour
were all
before the
depressed after Gamescom. He gets on the call and he's like, "Oh, guys,
yeah, Gamescom like hurt Sean. There was some craziness going on behind the scenes with that.
Yeah,
Sean was losing it.
Personally attacked.
A fine show.
Well, okay, we'll talk about that then. And but we also direct Xbox last night, so make sure you check that out over on spawncastnetwork.com. It's linked down below. Appreciate all the supporters over there. And let me just start. We'll start with Black Myth Wukong because we have to determine if this is a Sean game, as well as talk about the title itself. I get mentioned. I played it. OJ played it. 2 of us played it. Right. Ryan was playing Black Site. He's busy with Area 51 and Naughty Bear.
I did play a black game, but not Black Myth Wukong.
There you go. So, and Josie's doing Pokemon Snap. And Evan's to just watch it, enjoying people playing this game. And he's watching it. So, okay. I got it on the PS5. I was mostly curious how it would run. If I had the choice again, I'd probably would have gotten on PC because the PS5 version fine early on a bit, and then it starts getting more and more rough as you get through. So I am to the point where I'm like, oh, okay. Now if I could, what'd be really cool is if the save data transferred, because then I actually might look at the PC version right now, and transfer my save over.
I still don't understand this situation. I get that MVG said it was hard, but like we gotta get more cross save stuff, especially like PS5, PC. That should be like at least at the bare minimum, those two, like you don't want to do Xbox and everything else. Okay, fine, I get it. But at least PS5 and PC,
Yeah, so I've been playing it on PS5, and performance is spotty, and the image quality isn't great when you have it on performance mode. If you put it on fidelity, forget about it. The thing like 30 frames or less, it's tough for a game like this where you're trying to dodge and make precise movements and stuff and attacks. It's just not, it doesn't work. So it's kind of, I guess you could sort of compare it to that first iteration of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where we had that performance mode and it looked kind of blurry. Sort of like that. There's just a lot of breaking up around the characters when they move. So motion, there's like this kind of almost ghosting effect, but you do sort of get used to it. And the frame rate obviously is the biggest advantage there. This is a game though that I probably would go back to with the PS5 Pro, provided it has, well, one, it comes out here in a couple months, but two, it has some sort of enhancement. So I think this is a game that I would go back and check again with that new hardware.
You don't think it'll get an enhancement on standard? You don't think they'll patch it like they did with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I feel like they're taking a lot of feedback, it seems, and it's doing incredibly well. So I wouldn't be shocked if they go back and do some work to it. The thing is, though, this is Unreal Engine 5, and I feel like all the Unreal Engine 5 games I've played so far, like the biggest one is Immortals of Avium. I played that on the Xbox Series X, and I checked it on the Series S, and it was really blurry. And that's how they held 60 frames. The image quality was not good. And it had this similar kind of breaking up around different objects and stuff when you moved that you could just see, you'd notice it. So I almost think this is just Unreal Engine 5. Maybe, I don't want to say being too much for these consoles, but if you shoot for 60, it does feel like they are making significant sacrifices on the image quality. Because if you turn to fidelity mode, it actually looks a lot better on the PS5. It's just, it feels like you're underwater.
Yeah.
Although I had that same thing with Horizon Forbidden West, and other, like Ryan played that at fidelity, no problem. And I put it on fidelity and almost threw up all over the place. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah, like when I was playing it, I was playing it on PS5, and I didn't know beforehand, but like I just felt like it was like laggy. Like the inputs were just not like coming out when I'd be fighting bosses or fighting stuff. It's fun. It's completely playable. I was playing on performance mode. I tuned it to balance, and then like balance was, I guess, a little bit better, but I think they cut it to like
40 frames.
Yeah, it's like 45, I think, and like it's not as bad, but it's like if you're playing on performance to try to get that 60, Digital Foundry later explained what I was like having an issue with this whole frame generation thing, and like it's like 30, but then they're trying to make it seem like it's 60. It's some weird stuff going on with the PS5 version on performance mode. If you want to try to hit 60 frames. So it got to the point where I was fighting certain bosses and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Like, I have a PC that's capable of it, so let me see if this is even like, if I want to play this game like more. So I played it on PC, and instantly you can feel it's just better on PC. Obviously, if you have a PC that's capable running it and running it at 60, or even I can run it above 60, but I just capped it at 60 so I can record the footage better. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. If you play it on PC, I think it's a PC game first. I think the PS5 version or the console versions were something that they said, okay, we can do that. But I think they focused on PC first and foremost. And it's fun. It's not like, me personally, I don't think it's like some type of, oh my gosh, like it's going to be like my game of the year or anything. But I think it's a really good first effort, from like mobile devs, right? This was their first, big console game. Like you got to give them props, because I think just like Stellar Blade, Stellar Blade, not perfect, but still great, 8 out of 10 or whatever you want to say, right? Some issues here and there, but there's really good like mechanics and good depth within the combat system here. So I'm having just about as much fun as I had like with Stellar Blade with this game, which I love Stellar Blade. So yeah, I think it's good.
So it's not as good as Metaphor, though, is what you're telling me.
I don't think it's going to be as good as Metaphor. No, I don't think it's going to be close. I think it could be close, but for me, I don't think so. No.
I think think we like in my mind when I hear that, I think it's more. This isn't something I look at as a revolutionary title to where I go, okay, this sets the bar, this sets the standard for this genre in gaming or something. But it is. It's not. So people compared it to a Souls game originally when they were seeing it, and then they played it and they're like, not really a Souls game. And I just kind of feel like we get to the point where if an action game has a stamina bar and you can reset enemies by pressing rest, it's a Souls game. And it's like, well, there's really no punishment if you die. If you die, you don't lose experience, souls, nothing. You're just fine. You go back to a rest point that's typically a few minutes, not even, from a boss or a major event. Sometimes it's right next to it and you just run right back to the boss and you can change up whatever you need to your loadout. You can respec your character at any time. You just go to the point and you just move your stat points around, no problem. So there is a lot of leeway that it gives you for creating your character for any specific time. Although I haven't done that at all. I've really had no problem with the game either. Technically, there were a few really challenging bosses I come across. I'm in chapter 5 right now. So I'm 23 hours into the game right now. Came out on Tuesday. So I've been playing it a fair amount. And I've been enjoying it. There were a few bosses. The last one I did at the end of chapter 4 had this weird hitbox thing going on that was throwing me off a bit. But what I realized is, so they have it in chapters. The game is technically linear in the sense that there is a start point and an end point to the chapter, but they have branching paths when you go through it. So it's almost like the, not necessarily open zone, but like you can run down a path, it splits, and then it splits again on either end, and you'll end up in almost like this circle pattern. And in doing that, you'll come across side quests. And I noticed that each area has a secret area that then gives you an item that helps you beat that boss for the area. So like there's a major boss that it works against. And if you don't get it, that major boss is just harder. So I started realizing that, and I started just kind of exploring more. So it is linear and it is kind of boss rush mode like, but there is actually a lot to find if you decide to just kind of wander off. And the whole time you're building experience points. So I'm like level 70 now, just about. And like my stat tree is filled decently, but there's still like 100 some odd things to upgrade. And I think the max level somebody checked on PC is like 340 something.
John, I'm going to be honest with you. None of this matters. How many women are in the game?
Okay. So
there are women in the game. There are women in the game.
How many?
I saw I know the article you're talking about because Sean made a video pointing at it, and they mentioned that they played the first 2 chapters in the game and they didn't come across any women. And the reason they didn't say anything about chapter 3 is because you immediately fight an awesome boss who is a woman that turns into a lightning dragon, and you fight them in the middle of a snowfield. And the whole time you're fighting, you're leaving tracks in the snow, and it looks awesome. It's this really cool scene. And so you immediately have, I think, a really powerful woman that you fight against. You get into chapter 4, without spoiling much, the entire cast that you're fighting against, except for like one person.
Even though you spoiled a boss fight real quick, I'm just saying that without you just spoiled a boss fight. Just want to put that out there. But
well,
go ahead,
I will
continue.
say it's on their website. It's on their website, and it's a full screenshot they have on their website.
Okay.
It's right there. But the in chapter 4, like a significant amount of the cast are women. So once you get past chapter 2, there's actually a number of women in the game, Sean.
There better be. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Well, the combat is still, I guess, again, people say Souls like. You do have a stamina bar that is extremely forgiving. You can dodge, you can attack very like consistently, and you won't lose your stamina that like in Souls games, you'll lose it very quickly. It takes a while to lose your stamina bar, and the whole time you can dodge and do light attacks, which is your staff, and you can have smash attacks at the end of it. And then you have these magic that's like mysticism, or you have some that are more defensive. And the idea is you can work it all together to have longer combos that takes off large chunks of your enemy's health, specifically bosses, and they get more powerful as you go. So I do like the combat in the sense they give you a lot of options. There's not as much impact with the staff at first, but as you get better, as you start to realize some of the combos and add in some of the magic, you can hit really hard. Like you can mess up some of these bosses very, very quickly if you know what you're doing. So I've seen some people mention that they feel like they're not having a huge impact on some of these enemies. It's just, it comes down to thinking about some of the combos more and it's not like, oh, you're going to press square 3 times, then triangle for heavy. It's like you're going to press square a couple times. You're going to transform into a whole other creature, attack for a bit, transform back, and then have some like ultra powerful move that you can use when you absorbed a spirit like an hour ago. So, Sean, I think this is a game that runs alongside of a Souls title, but doesn't completely go all in on it. So I think this might be your best shot at a game that kind of Souls-like, but not like full all in. Like this might be it for you right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, Sean? It kind of reminds me of, they're like older. You know, we used to have those old 3D beat 'em up games, like Xbox, PS2 era kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
It does pull a lot from that, I will say. Like when you're going through some of the levels and stuff, you would notice it when you're playing. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I have a dodge. There's no blocking in the game, so you're not blocking or parrying. You have one like spell that can turn you into stone that lets you smack the weapon back at the enemy, but it's all about dodging.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll check it out, and if it's not for me, it's not for me. But you know, at least I'll try it.
He's got to give it a shot. Okay, everyone, he's gonna give it a shot. And you know,
like after what I just played, I need a little palate cleanser.
I am enjoying my time with the game. I am. I'll probably finish it in a couple days, and there's another game I'm starting up tonight, I guess, or tomorrow. Star Wars Outlaws. So we'll see how that goes. But
you got a review code for that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Somebody else did, I think, too. Here,
maybe
a couple people did.
Maybe I got one.
Hold on. Did you play Doki Doki yet? Did you finish it, John?
No, I once I got Black Myth Wukong, I threw that out the window.
What the? You didn't finish it?
I'll go back to it. They were making me write poems, and the other one was like, "Here's an entire tale of Journey to the West."
John, these waifus
that happened.
These waifus aren't going to have mental breakdowns without you playing that game. Come on, you got to get back to it.
Hey, I'll get back to it. I will. I'll get back to it. I'll figure out some poem writing tonight. And I might just look that up, by the way, because there's a trophy for writing a perfect poem. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend time trial and erroring this thing. I'm gonna look this up.
Since when do you care about trophies?
Not messing around with that. I mean, at this point, honestly, I'm rolling to where Final Fantasy 16, that platinum might be in sight. The Black Myth Wukong platinum might be on the table. I don't know, Ryan. Things changing around here. Caring
about trophies.
I don't think I'm not gonna say that. I can't say anything about some of the other games playing. Fransby.
Holy
Fransby
shit.
And Todd Howard gifted 50 Spawn Wave memberships.
Yo, let's go.
That shout out to Fransby there.
Yo, big love to Fransby.
Yes, if you got a membership, you got to drop it in the chat. Say shout out to Fransby. Shout out. Yep, maybe up there. You were Fransby was actually at DirectX in I think DirectX Xbox yesterday, dropping some messages too. So if you all of a sudden have
or something, what's going on over there? I'll be streaming Monday. I'm just saying, dog.
Man's trying to snipe Fransby out here, bro. Come on now.
I saw Blaze 4K said he already beat Wukong. Already beat it. So salute to y'all. Shout out to Blaze 4K. Yeah, I saw a couple people who like marathon this game. So that when I see that, I go, okay, this game might have something then if it grabs people like that, because it definitely, I mean, it grabbed me at this point. For me, 23 hours or so in a couple of days is actually not bad. So, but yeah, I think I saw Blaze post up a screenshot of the credits and stuff at the end. So I'll get there. Give me a couple days. But I will say, Sean, the game is. I have not found it as difficult as Souls games. Some of the bosses I beat first try, just like outright. So I think it's less aggravating is what I'll say.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to check it out.
I'm genuinely interested to see what your thoughts are on the game. I am actually.
Monkeys are cool.
You play as a monkey.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty cool.
A monkey man. Now I was kind of on the fence, but now that you told me about the Chapter 4 village, I know I can play this.
There's that you have your staff, right? And well, you don't know anything about Dragon Ball, never mind.
Do you have staff combos like it's Star Fox Adventures?
Actually, kind of is. You twirl the staff around and stuff and hit them.
Staff. Yeah, there's staff. I mean, you use the staff. You got you're hitting people with staff and combos.
There's one Sean where you can do a heavy attack and you jump up on the top of your pole and stand on it like it's almost like a stilt.
Okay.
And,
interested.
There's one like so all the Dragon Ball people out there, you have your the staff obviously, and you can do like this move where you sidestep back up and then you show them your staff and then it extends like Dragon Ball, like the powerful extend.
Yeah,
it's right in the face. Boom.
Goku used to always do that in Dragon Ball. It was awesome.
It looks really cool in motion if you pull it off. So they have some fun. They have some fun like stances, like different stances for your.
Now we need a Dragon Ball RPG, like an actual real Dragon, like young Goku, like RPG, like actually try, not a Kakarot, which is
I'm not gonna say this out loud, but I saw a comment in the chat. So you saw this, OJ. They have like cutscenes and stuff. Like at the beginning of chapters, between chapters and stuff, there's some really cool ones in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a couple where I was like, "Whoa, that's actually."
The cinematics in the game are incredible. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think look, Josie went through and she beat Donkey Kong Country 2. So I think you're ready for Black Myth Wukong now. It is like it's like that level, right?
I've heard amazing things. I was really surprised by how like I get like TikTok clips all the time of people talking about how much of a good game it is. It's crazy.
Black Myth Wukong, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. There you go. Josie might be interested. It's on TikTok. She might check it out now. You know.
She's not playing it.
I think Josie's ready. She beat Donkey Kong Country 2. She's ready for
that is a platformer.
Maybe if it's like $20. I don't know if I want to.
This is a game I actually wouldn't be shocked if it, because we'll talk about the sales second. I wouldn't be shocked if this game went on sale because it's digital only. It might find its way into one of those PlayStation Network sales that they do. Like they'll do for the back to school sale. Here's 20 or 30% off the game. It's like what?
It's selling really well. Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna discount it a lot. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
No, what you were saying. Yeah, this isn't Concord, John. They're not gonna.
Oh no, not now. I'm talking about like towards the end of the year or something.
Yeah, even later. I think it's gonna be like 5% or like 10%. It's gonna be like, yo, you can get it for like $53.99 or something like that.
Hey, in China, it's $40 in China. I think it's less than that. I think it's $30 in China.
The hometown discount? What's up?
Did they force people to buy the game? Is that why it did so well, John?
Yeah, some of the takes online are crazy because they shared their sales information. They just dropped press release and they're like, all right, have a good weekend. 10 million copies in 3 days of this game. Whoa. That is obscene. So I saw Daniel Ahmed was doing comparisons for it, and it was right next to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for 3 day sales, 10 million copies. And I saw that. I was like, wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's faster than Elden Ring, faster than Hogwarts Legacy. It's like absurd. I was not expecting sales like that. I mean, it looked like it was going to do well, and it has it so. But like 10 million copies, it has it so that in China, PlayStation 5 systems have a pretty big uptick in terms of just interest. They're selling out. It was funny. They're like, it sold out. And they said the PlayStation store sold 6 PS5s and it sold out. I was like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, technically that's right. But that's what Sony's been doing. Ryan, we talked about that with the China Hero project. They've been trying to get into some of these regions.
Well, that's investing in smaller studios, but I mean, they're like probably like the default console option. If like a Chinese buyer is going to play on console, it's probably PlayStation 5. I think it's pretty telling though, when you see the Steam numbers, like the rolling 24-hour number, like falls off a cliff when China goes to sleep. Like that game did very, very, very well in its home country.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Daniel Ahmed was tracking like bandwidth use, and there's like 83% or something was coming from China on Steam for the game. Crazy. So but hey, sale's a sale. They're selling copies, and even then, when like China, it's like 2 a.m. in China. There's still like 300,000 current players on this game, and it's a single player action game. So people just like the game itself, and it's good. It is. I would. This is a game that I assume they're going to do a physical copy at some point. I'll buy the physical copy.
No,
I think I'm going to get a lot of time out of it.
Update on that one, John. There's from the article that I read, I talked about that in my video today. There is no real physical copy. It's a code in a box. At least the IGN
but like if
article.
they eventually do one.
That's what they said. That was the actual physical copy. So there's going to be a physical copy,
limited run or something.
Oh, okay. So like the physical copy that's coming, like that you can buy in stores, it's just a code in a box. So that's coming apparently later this year.
I think somebody will probably approach him and say, "Hey, let's do a real one."
Okay. I hope so.
I'm sure companies will start approaching them and advising, like, "Hey, maybe don't do it that way. Do it this way, and for X, Y, and Z reasons, here's how many more copies you'll sell."
That's because the article is from June, so I don't think they knew that this type of success was coming, right? So now that you're selling 10 million copies in 3 days, obviously physical option is definitely more on the table.
Yeah, yeah. They want to have something, I'm sure, on store shelves, even if it's a code in the box for like holiday season for gifting and stuff.
Get a real physical out there. The money's there. Get a real physical now. Change those plans. Get a real physical.
Yeah. It's tough because you see this kind of a game and you realize they could just fit the entirety of the game on the disc. And like, that's it. Although the game is kind of big, but still, like, for the most part, they could give you the experience on the disc itself because it's a single player offline game, basically. So
what is the file size for it?
Oh, it's like I feel like it was
if it's over 100, then you're gonna have to download.
It's over 100, yeah. I think it was over 100.
It's like 100.
Yeah,
it's 100 something.
I would hope for a disc print. I have very low expectations for a 2-disc print. Not many publishers are going to do that.
Dude, oh, come on. This game did so well. They got to do that.
I mean, it'd be awesome.
If it did that well, I feel like I'd be like, no, man, we got to immortalize this thing. We got to put it on a 2-disc set. It's already got 10. By the time we get to the holidays, this thing could be 20 million plus. You know, maybe it's possible it could be some crazy number by then. Come on, put it on disc. Put it on disc. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna finish it up. OJ, you said you're playing it on PC now. Is that like where you are? Like you're just playing it there currently?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play it on there. You know, I've already put a number of hours in on PC versions, so I'm just gonna keep playing it on there. And I probably won't go back to the PS5 version of the game, but it's still, like I said, if you can't do a PC version of the game, PS5 version, like hopefully they fix it. You can play on balance mode that won't eat your inputs. You do get lower frame rate, but it'll be better, you know, with the inputs. So you can play it on there, see how it feels to play. But if you got a capable PC, I do recommend, and if you're okay with playing on PC, I do recommend PC version of the game.
If you want to see how it would run on your PC, they do have a benchmark, a tool you can download on Steam. I think it was like 9 gigabytes or something, and it just runs through part of a level, and you can see what your frame rate would be, and you can play around with the settings. So
I think didn't it just come because like I didn't remember downloading that separate. I think it's just in the game.
Oh no, you can download it. They released it 2 weeks, I think, before the game itself came out. So I downloaded on my PC to check it, and I was able to get 60 frames with light ray tracing and stuff if I wanted it. So it was fun. Yeah,
I mean, it was just there. It just says run benchmark whenever I booted up the game. Okay, so yeah, that's true. People were doing that benchmark thing. I did remember people were doing that. Okay, yeah, you can do that. It's pretty good. It's got like it shows you all like the options too on PC, like super resolution and all the different type of stuff, like different DLSS and whatever you want to use, FSR or whatever. So and like you can change things and run it. So yeah, I got mine. I just like I said, locked it at 60 and 1440p, and it's fine.
And please, PS5 Pro support. Come on, I will go back to this game with PS5 Pro. Need that patch.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Excited going back through. Going to continue through it this week, and I'm interested to see Sean's thoughts on it. We'll revisit this next week if Sean has time with it. We'll see. You said you're gonna buy it tomorrow, Sean?
Yeah, I mean I won't be home for a lot of the day, but I'll just buy it and then come back.
Give it time to install and download.
Yeah.
That'll work. All right, let's move over to this is Ryan's game right here. So I kind of feel bad, Ryan, I had to bring this up. Concord launched. Actually, technically, it came out on the 20th, right? Because they did like 3-day early access.
Yeah, for like the 20 or so people that probably wanted to do that.
Oh, it went down further. Okay, I was looking at it. Like, the number went down a little more. Well. Okay. Anyway, it is out now officially on the 23rd. Unfortunate timing for this game, by the way. I mean, I don't think any time was going to be good to launch it after what we saw in the beta, but like this is a really bad spot to be in. We have Black Myth Wukong come out, and then next week Star Wars comes out. So it's between like two. One is new IP, I get it, but like Star Wars is Star Wars. It's going to get the spotlight, good or bad.
Yeah, but those are two single player games.
Yeah, conceptually, it's two completely different markets. There's nothing from that market coming out now, and still people didn't give a shit. Like, Deadlock had more players in it, and you have to actually ask to get into that.
Even
like
smelly ass.
There you go. I think 2 PS5 games would actually pull from Concord, but go ahead. Yeah,
I think only one. Wait. One. They're both on PC and stuff. And one is coming to Xbox, Star Wars Outlaws.
It is.
Either way,
high-profile games.
We just Concord's doing like ass. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
It's not doing good.
The alarming thing is, it's like Redfall did terrible, Suicide Squad did terrible, but like even those debuted with a few thousand.
Yeah.
So it's like we all knew like it's gonna not do well. That much is obvious, right? So that there's no shocking headlines here, but it's like the fact that it's under 1,000 is just kind of nutty. Although I've heard, because again, I'm not playing the game, this is just not the kind of game for me. I've heard that if you enable crossplay and you play the game, like almost all the IDs are PlayStation logos. So conceivably, like the number we can't see is the PlayStation side. So it seems like they are doing reasonably better there. But it's like, even if you take the rolling 24-hour number on Steam and then multiply that by like 50, 100, if you're just overly generous, that's still just terrible. And it's probably safe to say that's not what's happening anyway. So this is very likely one of the biggest financial risks that Sony has taken. That is without a doubt like probably the biggest failure the company's taken on.
The concurrent player count number right this second for Concord is just over 400 on Steam. And the all-time high was just under 700, 697. For reference, Suicide Squad, as you mentioned, that had an all-time peak of 13,459. People also pointed out that the Lord of the Rings Gollum game had over almost 800 people, I think, with a concurrent high.
And getting slapped by Gollum? Damn.
Incredibly unfortunate to see that. Yeah, that's...
the crazy thing... I'm sorry, Concord actually is like the gameplay actually... like looks, I think the gameplay looks fun. Like there's some things in it that's redeemable, but man, like I think the character design is what's kind of maybe drawing some people off from it. Like the character design looks like it doesn't look as cool as like let's say just say Redfall, or it doesn't look as cool as like obviously Suicide Squad has
like Overwatch,
or like as cool as like Overwatch. The art is just not. It's just not stacking up, like when you look at the characters and stuff like that, they didn't vibe. And you got no single player, you got no other type of attraction to get people in, even though like there is some decent gameplay in there, like I think who played it? John, didn't you play it or who played it?
I played Concord.
Yeah,
I played
it. You said it was okay, right? Like the
gameplay
and all. Yeah.
Shooting mechanics and stuff. I got used to it and it was fine after a few rounds, but I kind of forgot about it after that. There was just no character that I found that interesting. And exactly. None that I was like, I gotta learn more about this their backstory, or I just didn't. When the cutscene came up, I was annoyed, and the idea was like, hey, we're gonna sell this thing on cutscenes, and then I tried to skip it as much as I could. And like, I just don't.
Apparently 8 years, right? That's what I was hearing. 8 years.
I can't believe they said that. I was like 8 years, and I thought about it, like 8 years ago was 2016 when Overwatch came out.
Overwatch, yeah. Overwatch doing good. We need to make that. Let's just take a decade to do it. Like you can't. Do people actually think like maybe Ryan, you got some? Like, what is the insight on taking almost a decade to make a looter shoot or not a looter to make a like an Overwatch clone, like
a hero shooter?
Hero shooter. Sorry, like wouldn't you think like, hey, we need to capitalize on this, so let's make something that we can make in like 2-3 years or so? Like, what is the thought process of 10 years for something that you're trying to copy that's popular right now?
We all know games take forever to make nowadays. So that's not, to me, the surprising thing. I think that's just what's so risky about AAA game dev, is making that kind of bet and then committing to it for as long as it did. This was a lot of, this was a lot of like former staff from like Bungie and Activision and what was it, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, like a lot of people.
They had a lot of top tier talent. Yeah.
Making a new studio, and you're trying to raise capital in 2016 to get a studio off the ground. Like building new IP is hard. Like this was definitely going to be like a 6+ year game. There's no way you can turn it around any faster. The only studios that can do that are established properties and established studios that already have that sort of workflow that, is conducive to like nearly annual franchises or something, right? Like it's no matter what, this was going to take forever. It's just, that's the problem. You know, in 2016, you sit down with a bunch of people and say, hero shooters are doing really well. Maybe we can come up with something and carve out our own path, because the game is still different enough from what I hear.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but it's, you know, by the time it comes out, it's 2014 or 2024. It's a different marketplace.
Yeah, that's
there's just no, yeah, but like there's just no way to go about, there's no way to go about doing it though. Like how else do you make that kind of bet? You just have to hope that when you come out the other side, that there's still a marketplace for that game, and also the thing you built is, you know, worth playing. I mean, you know what's really crazy too is like Concord is, again, from what I hear, is technically sound. Like it's a very polished AAA game, and it's like that can't surpass like Redfall, which was actually a technical disaster and like a on paper bad game. Concord is not necessarily a bad game. It's just not really standing out in any sort of meaningful way. That and the various other issues, like the price point certainly doesn't help.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel you on that one. I get it. Like in terms of AAA development, I don't know. I guess maybe it's easier said than done. That maybe, you know, if you are going to take a risk with the new IP, maybe you should build like a normal game and build like a normal multiplayer. And then if, you know, add on to like the live service things, like if the game takes off, then okay, but at least if it doesn't, hey, you spent less money, hey, you have a single player, you have something else that people can actually like play normally, and then maybe you can, I mean, because that's what they did back in the day for online, right? Like they would have like the base online, and then like they'd add on to it, there'd be like expansions or whatever to the online play. Maybe you can't do that in today's day as much, but I just remember
you really can't.
You know, I just remember there being, you know, games like that where they would start like, hey, here's the multiplayer, and then like, oh, they'll add on this, or they'll be like the map packs, or they'll be like whatever, Call of Duty or whatever the case was that they did. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if banking your existence on a new IP and saying, hey, it's going to take us, we're planning this out, it's going to take us 8 years. Like, would any of us plan for certain things for like that would take us 8 years to do? That's like popular right now. None of us would plan that, right? Like, I worked in corporate business, and there's not a damn thing that I would say, hey, look, let's plan it out, and it's going to take us 6, 7, 8 years. It's still going to be, if you're trying to copy somebody else or go off of a wave that's going on. I just think that that's not the best business plan, you know, to do. You know,
that's what's tough about the whole thing. Obviously, it's just like an uphill battle. The other thing I find very fascinating about this game too is like a lot of the complaints are, oh, the price tag. You're releasing a $40 game in a genre where it's expected to be free to play. And it's like, I find that's a bit of a double-edged sword, because yes, it's like we're now in this place where there's like this race to the bottom, right? Nowadays, it's like these games have to be free to play in order to find some kind of audience. Obviously, that's not a guarantee either. Tons of games ship free to play and they end up failing anyway. But it's like, there's been a lot of complaints in recent years about how predatory some games can get when they are free to play, and, you know, requiring a battle pass every season and locking behind certain cosmetics and everything like that. So I almost find that that's what's interesting about the company doubling down on this game and saying, yeah, it's an upfront cost, but it harkens back to, in a way, what people do miss is like, hey, I'll pay for a game up front, but then I want access to all the content afterwards, which is what they're committing to right now. That was the whole selling point of, you know, you pay it once, and then season 1, season 2, all the updates, the new free gunners, the new modes that we're going to do, you're just going to get all that with your $40, which, you know, if you compare that to another free-to-play game over a 2-year period, you might come out way under versus what you'd spend on the other game, right? So it's like it's a problem, an upfront problem, but I guess it just depends on, you know, if that's more of a vocal minority that wants to go back to the way games used to be monetized.
I looked at the comparable you brought up, Evan, in the multiplayer space. I understand. I know Star Wars and Black Myth Wukong are like single player space. But you're right, Deadlock that has that's just 64,000 concurrent players. It just peaked at like a couple hours ago. It looks like right now it's at 37,000. This game doesn't even have textures half the time.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. It's crazy. So, oh yeah, that's not good. I will say this, probably Monsters might have had the finesse of the century right now.
Because they sold it.
Dude, they sold Firewalk to Sony a couple of years ago.
How much did they sell them for, dude?
We don't know. But
disclosed,
they saw what was happening, I assume. They saw the project and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, they're already in a publishing deal with Sony. And I guess, I don't know. I wonder what happened behind the scenes there, because I almost wonder if probably Monster's like, I don't know about this one. And Sony's like, no, we'll buy him. It's cool. Bring him in. Or if Sony wanted to buy him. I don't know. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, ooh.
I always pictured it as they wouldn't do it unless the price made sense to them. It can't be that much, because it is an unproven studio. It's the whole point. You try and buy an established studio that can command a higher price tag. So.
Yeah, you get Bungie then.
It's just $50 in a burrito, and they just got this game.
That's what Nintendo paid for Monolith Soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like it's Sony's problem now. They gotta, after they launch it, they gotta figure out what to do now, and that's the tough part. Is what do you do right now after looking at this thing? Like, we can only go by the Steam numbers. But as you mentioned, Ryan, even if you start exponentially raising the numbers here, it's not what they were looking for it to be. How many copies could they have sold realistically right now?
Dude, it's got to be like a few thousand.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like 10,000 is the max right now. Is that like the roof for this thing right now? That it could have sold between PlayStation and PC?
Yeah, it's got to be like a few thousand. And this game cost millions and millions of dollars to make. Like,
I almost wonder if you just make the move into PlayStation Plus as soon as possible.
See that, but that's the problem though, is that you committed to charging money for it.
Yeah.
And now what do you do to those people that, God forbid, they said, I like this game and I bought into it? What do you do for them?
That's like taking a Stone Cold Stunner. Like this.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it sounds
right
crazy. They might want to start thinking about crediting money back to accounts and making this thing free.
John, bro, you can't crash out over this game.
No. Okay. So the cost that it is gives you the free heroes and all that stuff up front, and then they go free to play, and you have to pay for it. I've seen other games do this. It hadn't worked for them either. So this is not going to be great.
You say credit accounts, just say screw it, PS Plus. Just say, oh man, we out.
What happens? What happens if they get to the point where this thing is below 100 people on Steam? Let's just say the numbers get this is launched.
Well, like tomorrow or
like a week or two from now, they look at it and they're like, oh wow, there's like 80 people on Steam. There's like 300 people on PS5, and we're having a hard time coming up with matches for these people. It's like eventually they just stop playing it completely, and there's just no one playing.
Well,
check out midnight, bro. It's gonna be 14 people.
The other thing too, though, is that a lot of from what I understand, a lot of publishers will like, before the game even comes out, they'll commit to like, okay, this is going to get 2 years. We will commit financially to 2 years, but based on even just pre-orders alone before the game comes out, they might cut that, right? Or by the time it does come out and they see the initial debut numbers and go, okay, you're cut down to 1. And now you're contingent on certain goals with the player base to then fire that back up to 2. You can always hire staff again. You can always scale back up if you need to. God forbid the game does find an audience. But if they committed to, let's say, 2 years, I can't imagine a world where that's it's got to be already cut in half.
No, we've already seen it. Redfall had DLC characters you guys are never going to see.
It has to be.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's just
they credited accounts. See?
It has to be something where they probably thought, oh, we'll do 2 years. Now it's 1. Now it might be, if this keeps going, it might get cut down to 6 months.
Yeah, they have April, I think was last month. We can kind of, and I think there was something next to it. We kind of see another update, but it wasn't very clear. It's basically up to April is what they've outlined so far. I mean, what if you're just updating for 20 people? That'd be crazy, because there's like 8 people or so playing in a match. It's that's. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough to figure out. This is not a fun situation to navigate for Sony. So, the thing that's a shame is I do believe that studio could make a good shooter that maybe isn't tied to live service stuff, or would have to try to be an Overwatch kind of game, because it's very clear that the underlying mechanics of it are, I think they're good. I think they're sound. It's just wrapped up in a shell that's just not interesting. It's just, why would I play that over? That's the thing. You're always going to ask, why would I play this over something like Overwatch that's more established, has more content, has a community? And it's hard to give any reasons as to why you would. So I I don't know. That's tough. We're gonna see what happens. I almost wonder if they start coming up with something as soon as like a week from now, like a strategy or an announcement, because they're selling for $40, so they got to figure out if they're gonna keep selling for $40 soon. That would be my thing. It's like, what do we might do Click R3, Ryan, and they might have already made an announcement. It might be that soon because it's
probably.
The numbers were so low. It seemed like the press, people who are normally be doing the article stuff, they were confused. They're like, is something wrong with the numbers here? They're not, it's like 400 people. What's going on? That's it.
It was a risk. It was a very, very risky thing. I will say, because I'm seeing it in the chat, this is something people still to this day do not seem to understand about this. This was a new studio. Sony is still continuing to make single player games. This is just a very, very, very expensive bet for expanding into live service. Sony never stopped doing single player games. I don't know how people just can't seem to grasp this concept. You know, Sony's a public company. They look for ways to expand. The live service output has been primarily new studios, and this is one that they brought in. It's just not paying off. It's tremendously.
Helldivers 2 worked. This didn't.
Helldivers 2 worked, and that's an outside studio. That's all the single player PlayStation Studio developers you know and love are still doing just that. But most of the studios they brought in are doing the live service push. One paid off. A lot of them so far are not. We still have Fair Games coming too, which Fair Games also looked ostensibly
confidence level right now.
That looked ostensibly very sort of generic too, right? That immediately caught the same, So we'll see. It's just because everyone keeps bringing up like Jim Ryan, but Herman Hulst was at the time leading the studios. He was the one that played Concord back in 2018.
Oh, I got questions for him then.
Yeah, and
didn't he have like a crazy quote that what did he say about the game? He said something wild about like it could be like the best PlayStation game of all.
No,
he said something crazy about it.
He probably gave some. From what I remember, he played it in 2018 and just said like it's shaping up quite nicely or something. That it plays good or something. Yeah, I mean that's what he does. He does site visits and plays things early on, and that's where they decide to put their money.
If it was out by 2020, it might have had at least a better shot. At least it would
maybe.
I mean, still, it's
Destruction All Stars came out in 2020. That didn't do any better.
Yeah, but they threw it in the PlayStation. They threw that in a PlayStation Plus.
And nobody cared. Nobody downloaded that anyway.
I played it for like 3 hours. And I was like, what is going on here? I kept thinking there should be a rocket launcher on my car, and it never happened.
Make Twisted Metal. That's all people said. After they're like, can you guys just make Twisted Metal? Thanks.
And they canceled it. So get Twisted Metal out of here. What do you think this is? Just too much fun happening over there.
See, people in the chat keep saying it's a shift. It's not a shift. It was.
You know what it is, Ryan?
It's an expansion.
It's expansion.
You know what it is, Ryan? They need to start announcing game. They need that showcase. I think that'll solve a lot. I think if there's a showcase in September, I think people will just forget about Concord. Well, they kind of have. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It won't be as much like, oh my gosh, what is happening with PlayStation? It'll be like, oh, cool, okay, we're back on track with the single player stuff. Because let's be real, that's going to be the majority of what's announced at a showcase. The studios are going to show up, Sony's, and they're going to show off some cool stuff. And then we're off and running for the second half of PlayStation.
They just front load the showcase with a new hero shooter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
They just start showing all the live service stuff again. I think that's the biggest thing right now is get to Astrobot, get to the showcase, get back on track. Concord's just like a bad dream for them right now. So
yeah, that's a lot of money they wasted. There's no doubt about that.
It's a sleep paralysis.
I don't think they should stop with the multiplayer stuff though. I honestly think they need to stop overthinking it. Go make a SOCOM. Just go make an established property and put that into the live service category and try that.
Dude, I think that would be worse.
You think so? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're taking a beloved property and turning it into something people already hate. Like, you know how pissed people would be if SOCOM came back and it wasn't like a standard arena style SOCOM 2 or something, and they shoehorn a battle pack. Come on, people would be more mad at that than Concord.
Well, what if it was that, but it was just multiplayer? Like it wasn't the battle pass simulator thing. Yeah, it was just multiplayer.
I think the safest thing they'd have to do is like just straight up remaster SOCOM 2 and give it online.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I just can't abide by the whole like, oh, let's just take an existing IP again and spit it out in live services if that's not going to make people more angry. Come on,
Revive Mag.
Yeah.
No, you just go the trickery method. You'd release SOCOM single player, multiplayer, and after 2 years of it being all right or a year of it being all right, they're like, by the way, Battle Pass. Well, no, we didn't tell any of you this.
Yeah.
New map, new stuff, Battle Pass, and then it just becomes the next COD because that was the sequence for that. It's great.
I think your best case scenario, shockingly, is something like Concord. Get a different studio to do it. You know, you're not compromising a single player studio. Put your money where your mouth is. It's a new IP, something that's unproven, and if it fails, it fails. This one did. I can't see any situation where it rebounds, but I think that's probably the most ideal outcome versus like tying up a single player studio, taking a beloved IP and turning it into something that we all hate.
What did that alternate universe look like where Last of Us Online came out?
RIP Factions 2.
Thank you. I do wonder what that alternate timeline looked like.
If only that company that didn't almost fall apart told them to, like, stop doing what they were doing. That'd be great.
Well, hey, we'll see. Astrobot's on the way. Astrobot will save everybody. Hey, we saw those leaks. That game's going to be really good.
That's only like 2 weeks away.
Or it's close. It's
coming
close.
up.
That controller's on the way. And the game. I'm ready for it. And then a showcase in a couple weeks, probably. So there you go. And a PS5 Pro.
Some weirdo keeps coming into my chat and they're like, isn't it so crazy that Astrobot is going to absolutely destroy Mario and it's so much better than Mario? And why are Nintendo fans so upset about Astrobot? And I was like,
don't make fun of for that. They need that. They need that in their lives. Their lives are just so bad.
I was like, how old are you? I
feel like Nintendo fans are actually pretty excited for Astrobot.
That's what I said. I was like, this is the only PlayStation game in a long time that I'm hyped for.
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
I'm excited for the game.
You played Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was good, but it was just they're like, I can't believe you're so mad about Astrobot, and I was like, sir, huh?
Don't call him a sir. That dude definitely has a race car bed. Like that. That's not no. That's not no sir.
It's a child, but
it's a boy sitting there with macaroni and cheese and like applesauce trolling. Like it's not a sir.
It was so funny. I was like, what is happening right now?
At least mentally, he's not a sir. Definitely not mentally. You might be age-wise, but
the ultimate cameo at the end is you find an Astrobot with a Mario hat on. That's it right there.
And I'm gonna be pissed. So
yeah, just throw her PS5 immediately out the window.
I'm gonna break that. Yeah.
Let me go over some of the super chats here, and then I know you guys are really excited to get the Gamescom. I think Sean almost fell asleep when it was happening. So
I fell asleep on stream, bro. I fell asleep twice, so I was like, all right, I'm out. I had to stop.
Let's see. We got SK says, how about an idea for a guest? Happy console gamer.
Johnny Millennium. Very nice.
Okay. See what we got there. I think Sean, you know Happy Console Gamer, don't you?
I do.
There we go. Okay. See. Gotcha, SK. Lies of Phil Spencer says, RGT Evan, hear me out. Sega versus Capcom.
Say the rest.
Yeah, you didn't say the last part.
Sega versus Capcom, I'll bust. And they didn't put a period on the end. It's just that. It's just like it's going to keep.
It's a fact. It's not an exclamation. It's a fact. They're going to bust.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Dr. Strangelove says we have more viewers here than Concord has players. We do. Andy Ackerman says Team RGT today. What's up?
Thank you.
Trom says least Xbox still has Redfall. Colt Eastwood's game of the year.
It's true.
Val Ice says, I'm tired of the word controversy. Why is everyone an armchair quarterback? Play games you like. Don't play games you don't. Opinions are like. Yeah. You having fun over there, Sean?
Yeah, who's coming out, Sean?
Oh, sorry.
What you watching, brother?
It's the scramble. So there's like 15, 20 people all at once.
Real quick on that.
What
one.
in the ring?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
That's gonna look crazy.
Shoulder to shoulder.
if you look at it, like when people talk about like the armchair, dude, like you've got people who armchair quarterback professional football players and basketball players, right? Tell them, no, you better do this. It's like, bro, what? You didn't even make your freshman team. Shut up, you know? So it's always going to happen, man. Like you're always going to get, and this is part of it, you know?
I'll tell you, MVG loves it when people tells him about development on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
How to develop his games. He's like, oh yeah,
people
thanks.
will tell MVG like, no, that's not how you do it.
I miss when people in chat would talk to him about developing games. And you're like,
Casual Noob Gamer says, Fuji Instax has a printer for new Pokemon Snap.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that when that came out a while ago.
You can print out all your pictures. Renato Mario says, greetings from China. And yes, I can assure you guys, we are forced to play Black Myth Wukong. This is the only reason why it sold well. You say JK. This is from Wizzy. It says, return to Monk.
Return to Monkey.
Oh, Monkey. Sorry.
You fucking moron.
That was monkey brain right there.
Oh, E. Agent Redbeard says, what do you all know about this Crash 5 cancellation? This said Spyro was in it.
Go check out Liam Robertson's video. He did a documentary on it, so go check that out.
Wizzy says the monkey dies from Ligma at the end. Thank you. Link says, have you all tried any controllers for mobile, like the Backbone, Razer Kishi, etc.? I have Game Pass Ultimate, so I've been grinding the rewards, also emulators on phone. The Backbone. Backbone.
Yeah.
Backbone's good. Backbone is a good controller for the phone. Yeah. Blaze, shows Blaze again. Cash New Gamer says, at the end of BMW, Aerith dies. Now I repay John. Thanks.
Spelled Aerith wrong. Just want to point that out.
Rasta Life Reggae says, I just got married today. Who else is married? Hey, shout out.
Congrats.
Congratulations there. Sean's married, obviously.
Married to money.
I'm married. He's married. Married to money.
Yeah, I'm happily married. It's been over, oh my God, it's been over a half decade now that I've been happily married.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah.
Over a half decade at this point. So longest relationship I've ever had, by the way.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. It's kind of the result you want out of that. So.
Yeah, I was just saying before, it was like, all right, next. No, hey, I'm settled. I'm good.
What if I came out of nowhere and just was like, yeah, I'm married?
Who, you?
I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Francie says,
married.
We'll be there, RGT. Don't worry.
Thank you.
On your stream.
I know.
Hello, Bex. Shout out. And Wizzy says, my grandma is stuck on the 3rd chapter. Thanks. Unknown Games 99 gifted 1 Spawn Wave membership. Shout out to Unknown Games 99. Tijo says, I'm actually considering the Trails Through Daybreak Platinum myself, though I'm 65 hours in, close to the end. And I need to do a second playthrough. I've never been a huge fan of like games that are that long that require a second playthrough for the Platinum Trophy.
That sucks.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of those.
Missable ones. I mean, I'm not trophy dude anymore, but back when I was, anything that you could miss and just you can't get, and second playthrough ones. I hate those.
Missables are the worst by far.
Missables, yeah, like the ones that you just sucks.
Like, hey, you've never played this game before. Make sure you get this exact thing at this exact time, and you're not going to be. You don't know when it's going to happen. I hate that.
There was one that I also real quick one that I hated the most. It was on a UFC. UFC, the UFC fighting game 2010 called Flash KO. It's just random. There's like some 1% chance that if you hit somebody, you'll knock them out in an instant. Like it was just random. There was no way to actually do it. You just have to hope that you knock them out in one punch. Hated it. Never got it.
Yum Yum says, is Doki Doki that great? What about what is it? What is this? Thank you. And which on the Holy Night, since Fate Stay Night is out, I've not played any of those. I'm still trying to get through Doki Doki, and I've tried to write the poems. It wasn't going my way.
That's where you checked out.
Yeah, it's like 20 pages.
Yeah, you just click the options.
Hey, Sean, have you heard of the sequel that was leaked for Black Myth?
I can read, and I'm not an idiot, so I understand what we're trying to accomplish there.
Thanks, Wisby. I've seen that one before. This is from Mac Mega. Says, do you think Black Myth will get a performance patch on PS5, or will the PS5 Pro be the $600 plus performance patch? I think the PS5 Pro will be the $600 plus performance patch.
Yeah, if it gets a point.
I hope so. I feel like this is a game that, I mean, they've sold so many. It looks really good on PC. This kind of feels like one. I know it's probably a little late now, obviously, for marketing and stuff. This would have been a game I would have put next to the PS5 Pro, even if I was Sony, or like around it. Wizzy says Concord is the next coming of Christ. Thanks, Wizzy. Tijo says that the SXSG CE Dreamcast case and statue looks amazing. That's Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. Yeah, the collector's edition statue looks amazing. And I want one. Problem is there's no digital PS5 option. The fact that it's LRG doing it. Yeah, they said I think next summer is when they'll ship out everything other than the game. The game they're going to ship out in the release window. So they're still trying to get you that like somewhat on time. Manata Mario says, shout to all Chinese speakers here. Blaze 4K says Space Marine 2 is a traditional game in terms of full package, multiplayer, single player, co-op. Dev confirms it has no microtransactions. Evan, you really like the first Space Marine.
Yeah, when it was done by Relic. Yeah. This was kind of a different company, but it still looks good. I might be getting it, I think. A lot of my friends are looking into it. We'll probably co-op it.
Okay, it's the Evan game. So we can hear your thought. Okay.
What Blaze is saying is that it's possible to get something like that done in today's day.
Yeah, and if it blows up incredibly, the dev could go, cool, let's expand the multiplayer to seasons, battle passes. As long as you hit it initially with a good thing, maybe it pulls people in.
I guess Nintendo's not a good option or good comparison here, but I mean, they still do stuff like, Smash and Splatoon that are built, with offline and play, and then have
regular DLCs. Eventually, yeah.
And then they just shut it down after they're like, okay, we're done with
it's out September 9th. Space Marine 2.
No, yeah, we should be getting it. They got me bent into the first Ascendant with them, which was a mistake. 2 weeks, 127 hours.
You were still playing that game. Christ. What did you just say? 2 weeks, 127 hours?
A full-time job, bro. Like, what? That was a job, man.
I see you on that all the time. Like if I pull up Steam and like has a friends list come up, it's like Evan First Descendant.
Yeah, I was at their house. They were like, "Oh, we need a fourth." I was like, "Fuck it, fine." I'm in.
Gosh. Oh man. Proud Penguin says, doesn't Paladins have a free-to-play version, a $60 Founders Edition? Couldn't they have gone that route in the beginning? Bad look for Firewalk. I feel like they can play around with something in terms of a free version. Like you said, Evan, you can lock some of the free gunners away, or you could probably do a light version, just something. They could probably come up with it. Jorge says, you think Chinese, South Korean devs would be interested in creating Switch 2 games as Switch did fine in both countries? Do you think they're more focused on high-fidelity games like Wukong or Stellar Blade? I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to develop for the Switch too if they can put their game on there.
There were stories when Genshin was coming out that they were trying for the first Switch anyway, and it just never happened.
No, I that's why I'm kind of thinking that might be a Switch 2 thing at this point. Genshin.
I don't even think that there's something going on behind the scenes. It's weird.
Brother Darkness says Sony should revive old IPs. Talk to Square about Parasite Eve remake, Sega about Skies of Arcadia, and just make those great single player games and just have one division work on game service or multiplayer games.
That's basically what they are doing.
There you go. Dalian says consolation prize for Concord. At least it beat Dustborn. There you go. Ashley Larry Boy says, happy Kobe Bryant Day. Any favorite Kobe memories or moments?
Oh man, there's a lot of his last year was pretty magical because you start realizing, oh man, it's over, But I think the 81 game when he dropped the 81, that was a great moment because you'd never seen anybody score that many points in like the modern era. So I'd probably say the 81, and then the comeback with Shaq versus the Portland Trailblazers where they were down by like 20. Like in the third, and they came back, and then Kobe hit that lob to Shaq That was a pretty good moment too. But yeah, I got a lot of favorite Kobe moments, man. He's the GOAT, or one of the GOATs. Jordan's the GOAT, but Kobe's like GOAT 2A.
GOAT adjacent.
Yeah, adjacent. He's like the next, the GOAT that's like right there. But no, Jordan's number one. But yeah, Kobe's right there.
When I was a sophomore in high school, we played a volleyball tournament, and Kobe's daughter was playing, and he was just like sitting there watching. It was crazy. Me and my whole team were like freaking out.
The one that passed away? That one?
No, I believe.
Or the other one?
The other one.
Oh, she played? I didn't know she even played at all.
She was killing it. She's really good. I think she actually ended up getting a scholarship for college for it. I don't really know too much, but we remember we were like seeing her because they were like in the finals. And then
how many years ago was this?
6.
Okay, yeah, must have been his oldest, but she's like a model. I didn't know she played.
Yeah,
yeah,
she
yeah.
did.
She has a model. She has a modeling contract now. She's a model, but
okay, well, back in the day.
Okay, yeah, cool.
We all saw, and it was funny. That same thing. We were on the plane, like coming home because we were in Chicago for that tournament. We were on this plane coming home, and we saw Steve Kerr, like on the plane, same plane. We were like, "Hey," and then he knew our club, so then it was cool. His
Steve Kerr's like super down to earth. Doesn't
he was such
like
a chiller?
Like a multi-millionaire.
No.
Super rich NBA head coach, or whatever. He's super cool.
It was just funny because it was like a group of 10, 16-year-old girls being like, Steve Kerr, hi, can we get a picture? But it was great.
Grant says, take a drink every time a beard is touched. Don't do that. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, I'll up my beard touching. I will kill you across the internet.
Dirty says, did you see the Monster Hunter Wild might be 30 FPS on release? What is going on with PS5 performance with top third-party games?
It's once I saw those graphics, I was thinking, yeah, they might go with 30 because of how good it looked. It didn't look like they were going to go at 60 because I guess it's like dynamic weather and all sorts of particle effects and there's no loading. It's all just like, so it's, you gotta, there's some concession. They don't want it to look just like Monster Hunter World, right? Like they want it.
Save us PS5 Pro
to actually look
we need
better graphically. So that's really what it comes down to. It really comes down to that. Like they want people to see the updates visually, but there's only so much you can do. The PS5 is now what? It's 4 years old now.
It's about to be 4 years old.
Yeah, and then they go with something a little bit weaker than what's currently available at the time, right? So we're not looking at something that's like brand new, guys. It's not like it's a brand new 40 series card or something,
It is weird because we're still in that situation where people are like, the generation doesn't feel like it started yet, and we're like 4 years in.
Yeah, you got to realize that these systems aren't like, they don't have the latest tech, in them. It's so you're not gonna get 60 on everything. You're just not, or you're not gonna get it locked in. It's just not with the newest games. No, probably not.
PS5 Pro's coming. Save us. Let me go to Gamescom. A lot of excitement here. A lot of big hitters. People were real excited. Who streamed this, by the way? Was it just OJ? OJ, you streamed this.
Yeah, you told me to stream it.
No, I reminded you that it was happening. And
you reminded me to stream it. I know I streamed it.
Josie, did you stream this thing?
I did not. I did try to stream the Emio thing that you told me about, and then you got the date wrong.
No. Well,
it was on. Job. I went live, and everybody was like, "It's tomorrow," and I was like, "John fucking lied to me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do." So I just reacted to the museum and shifted gears. But
there you go. See, museum marked out for you.
Mm-hmm.
But first, got the exciting stuff to talk about. We'll talk about the boring museum. Got Gamescom. 2.5 hours of just pure magic. I did look through some of the announcements here, and there were a few good ones in here, but I mean, I gotta admit, I was watching this show and it was rough. It was just to stay tuned in for that long, and we have those spots where it's just like, okay, we have like some exciting announcements, then there's like a few announcements of just like just levels off for a while, then an exciting announcement. It's like we had the fun announcement at the beginning, then it leveled off for a long time and it didn't really come back. I saw OJ tapped out after how long you streamed for, like an hour?
I don't know if I made it up to an hour, man. I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't.
We got to the point eventually where Sean was messaging me and he just left his caps lock on. So he was just, some of the stuff was getting shown and he was just screaming. But I could only assume, like, I had the feeling, Sean, you were yelling as you were typing the stuff just by yourself in your living room. Like just yelling to no one.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was there were a few, and I'm sure I could bring a couple up that Sean would just immediately point out. But
Infinite Nikki.
That wasn't the one. That wasn't the one.
Infinity Nikki.
That was one that I looked at and I was like, that's gonna annoy Sean. There was one that came up that Sean definitely started he must have sent that message a couple times. There were definitely some extra letters on the end and stuff of him punching
cozy
into
MMO or whatever that one is.
Floatopia?
Yeah, was that one? So you knew it.
Floatopia?
Because that was like towards the end too. And I was like,
yeah,
this isn't
bringing you the pinnacle of coziness.
That was like the third last
bursts a blood vessel out of his nose.
People were paid to sit down in that audience, bro. I mean, you got to be.
Yeah, that was the third last announcement as Floatopia.
You gotta, but the pay to sit in the, bro, you gotta be.
That's one of those moments where you kind of put like the jacket over your head, like you're trying to get out of there to like the car.
You definitely praying at the altar of Keeley if you go if you pay. You got a whole shrine in your back room if you pay. If you're not media, if you just going there to watch the Gamescom has been like bad for a while. Like it's not that it's like bad. It's just like the developers aren't gonna give them like lit announcements for Gamescom, you know?
It's usually a slurry of not enough information.
Okay, here's the problem. Hit
it with us.
Is that Gamescom has been a thing for a very long time. And in 2019, a certain parasite decided to attach themselves to it and make what we now know as Gamescom Opening Night Live. Gamescom existed way before this, was very successful, and was a show for people that went to the show. And you got some information out of it. It was never supposed to be like a big pomp and circumstance sort of presentation because obviously it happens at a kind of a weird time to begin with anyways. It was supposed to be for European developers to show off their stuff. And what did you get at Gamescom? How many of those companies were European developers? Companies can't afford to pay six figures, especially in this economy. That's why you see the same sort of games and the same sort of companies. Capcom showed off Monster Hunter Wilds again. How many times have they shown that off at Keeley?
I think they just get invited. I don't think they have to really pay much for that spot.
Yeah, I don't think they got to pay anything.
Yeah, how did Floatopia foot that bill?
Well, who makes Floatopia?
They got floated
because a lot of those games were, no disrespect, but there were a lot of Chinese games and
like 10-cent back games were there. A lot of those.
You mean the winner of the prestigious environmental award? Because for some reason the UN is there giving an award at a show that doesn't have any other awards, and they just randomly gave a 5-10 minute block to environmental award to Tencent, which is a Chinese-based company, because we all know that China is at the forefront of combating pollution problems. But make sure you put your console in energy saver mode because you are helping. The show is just these Keeley events are just self-serving autofellatio events. They're not about bringing you awesome games because what'd you say? Like, let's be realistic. 50-60% of those games are never going to be touched by anyone on this panel, and that's being generous here. It's not about the quality of the games. It's about who can pay me the money to showcase this game at my presentation.
I will say, Sean, Sony held conferences at Gamescom though. Gamescom was always pretty well known for like a press event.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that aspect to it, but you didn't have this dedicated opening night live until 2019 when Jeff was like, "Hey, let me make this another one of my shows," and it's just like, why do you have so much power? Like, why are you video games? Because now you have Summer Game Fest. You have this opening night live, and then you have the Game Awards. Like, I don't understand it. I don't.
He's a February show, like a March show.
Does he?
Well, that way you can have 4. You can have one per quarter.
I don't know, man.
I think it just illustrates the niche he's trying to fill in, though, is what I'm saying. Like, if Sony at least always did Gamescom press events for quite a bit until they backed out. But it's like once all the platform holders stopped doing this stuff, that's when Jeff stepped in and saw the opportunity, obviously. But isn't Gamescom's like the biggest press event for games, the attendance is like crazy high.
Oh yeah,
So,
it was actually it's funny if you
what?
look at
Gamescom's big,
300
really,
like
really
400,000
big.
people.
The comment.
I saw Gene say this. I was like, because
Is this true?
Jeff.
What?
Did you see this, Sean?
I
You're in with Jeff. Jeff follows you.
Jeff likes me for some reason.
He's talked to you in some live chat things.
And he told MVG when MVG met him, he told him that he liked me. But like, I do think there are like, I don't think he's a terrible guy, but I just think it's another one of those situations where you're surrounded by people who are always telling you, yes, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Just like all the time, like no one's, it's almost like an echo chamber where no one is there to push back against you.
The attitude matches? Like
Jeff said the Colt looks like the attitude matches in real life.
WWE or what?
Oh no!
He then took a swig of champagne and walked away.
He probably
into a shadow off to the side and vanished.
What's that roast? Can somebody explain? I'm stupid. Would somebody explain to me what is he saying with that? Like with that, what he said to him?
Well, Colt has a very pompous, know-it-all attitude, especially when it comes to like Xbox stuff. Like,
he's talking about like his online persona, and then like, is that what he's saying?
Oh, his attitude matches. Okay,
in real life
matches in real. Okay, Colt looks like the attitude matches in real life. Okay, he's saying so his attitude in terms of how he speaks.
Well, you have to remember though. You do have to remember Colt Eastwood, and I'm not here to dog the guy or anything like that. But he probably has
the line. Sorry,
he probably has a bit of an overinflated ego because of Xbox, because Aaron Greenberg and Phil Spencer and all these fucking people talk to him and treat him like a friend and something like that. So he goes to all these events. He's in very tight with Xbox, which is that parasocial relationship, which I've talked about numerous times. But to get back on course, I don't think Jeff Keighley is like the Antichrist. I just think he needs someone to potentially challenge his ideas and maybe give him more ideas. I know Celia said, well, there's a giant panel of people. The panel of people, I guarantee you, are just like
every single one of them.
Just like any panel of people when a person in power, has a bunch of people around them. They pick those people because they're just yes men. And if you don't have anyone kind of, feeding you different ideas, kind of telling you, hey, do we really need to do something like this? Does it need to be 2 hours long? Maybe we could trim it down to an hour. Like, that's just my opinion, though.
Well, you better be careful with that, Sean, or you'll get buried in real life by Jeff.
Oh no, nobody's getting buried.
He'll throw that champagne back in your face and walk away.
We'll be fighting. Shit.
Just spit vodka in your eyes and beat you up.
Kim's bodyguards will take you down, bro. You got to be careful.
But I mean, like Evan said, I've talked to Jeff before,
and that doesn't mean he won't. Doesn't mean his bodyguards won't.
He asked if you were okay. Remember?
Well, yeah. Well, no, that was that before or after I went on his.
That was so funny. He asked if you were okay. I think it was before.
I think it was before too.
You yelled about Sting, and he showed up and was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, then when the voice call criticized him, and he was like, "I'll think about it for the next show," and then we still knocked his next show. So.
I honestly think that that's probably something he's not used to, so maybe that's why he likes me. Because there's let's be real, there's no other reason for this man to give a fuck about what I have to say or anything like that. But I think it's because I'll just be like, hey, that shit's kind of lame, dog. But I'm done watching his show.
He hears criticism from all over. I mean, so he's getting feedback and criticism a lot.
Yeah, but there's ways to take criticism where you're laughing at the person and none of it matters, or you actually take it and put it into what you want to put out as a product. I mean, he could just see the comments and be like, and then just roll around in some money a little bit,
which I mean, and it's obviously extremely successful. The shows are always a hit. They're always doing numbers and stuff like that. But just for me personally, I'm done with them. I
just think we need some competition too. I think we need a little bit somebody else having a monopoly on the big shows for the industry is kind of not good. So if there was somebody else that can do something, but I don't know. I don't think
if he wasn't so lazy, Sean should do it.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, we need like somebody that's like super like big like that, but that would be we need like Speed or like Kai Cenat or somebody like that to form some type of situation, like somebody that gets like can get numbers, right? And that would be the only way that could even be possible to even compete with Keely's stuff.
Let me drop this in the chat here for you guys. I put a list together, although I'm sure Ryan already has one. Those are all the games that were announced at Gamescom. I don't know if there's any in there that stick out to you guys that you want to mention.
Borderlands 4.
Borderlands
Batman,
4.
The Batman.
That was awesome. Borderlands 4. Batman looked cool. That was a good looking VR game. Okay.
How are we just going to ignore Peter Molyneux taking the stage to announce Masters of Albion?
I heard
son of a bitch.
How are we going to come on?
Spencer look like a saint. Okay, that man
Peter Molyneux.
He's just showing off Black and White 2024 edition. It was like
Sean Peter.
But you get to make
sandwiches
in a cozy situation, Sean.
I watched that. I was like, what is happening?
Hold on. So unironically though, I do like management sims a lot. So I'm not gonna front. I'm like, yo, this game looks kind of good.
Yeah, but with Peter Molyneux, he'll tell you what's gonna happen, and then a year later, it's not that, and you're like, oh,
that's what's upsetting is that I hope that whenever he releases this game, I hope it actually is good.
It's not. It's not gonna be.
Don't say that. Wait till it comes out, then we can say that.
Yeah, he hasn't made it. He hasn't made like a. Is it like a? It's like a PC game, right? He hasn't made like a big.
It's like
phone.
He got management sim.
Yeah, he was on phone. What was the last thing he did? Was what? Fable.
It was a phone.
The mobile game, right?
No, I'm talking about before like less console.
I feel like it was Fable.
Did you see the interview where he basically said like, yo, I smoke and drink a lot, so this might be my last game.
God.
He's such a weird dude.
What a beast.
You need to watch as many interviews with him as possible because he is one of the weirdest people. It's so great.
He's like, yo, I'm getting up there in age. Like, I might only have one more of these in me, so I might want to come back to PC and console. Well, you know what? I got to respect that language. I'm like, all right, let's see what this game's
about. I mean, if you smoking and drinking a lot, yeah.
Let me cut in real quick because Dark Fusion Panda, the very generous super chat here, saying just bought an LG C4 OLED. Top shelf ones there. Playing GT7 for first time is amazing. Got a racing wheel to test it all out. Keep up the good work. No Black Myth Wukong on Xbox. L equals Xbox. W equals PS5. Yeah, that didn't work out so well for Microsoft.
Since you're dropping money and buying expensive ass TVs, I'm sure you have probably like a couple hundo to get like a little cockpit thing to attach to the wheel.
What's the one you're using?
I'm using. It was the cheapest one on Amazon. It was like $200, and it works great. And you get that, dude, and you just sit in the little cockpit with your little steering wheel and shit. It's awesome.
You're dropping real money. You get the gyro cockpit that actually gives you the G-force whenever you're trying to
order. Yeah, but you go from, I don't know what you had before, but you go from like an older TV or like a LED or LCD, and then you go up to an LG C4 OLED. That's like next level with GT7s. That's a great game to play on it too, to test it out.
I would tell you to get the VR headset as well, but I mean, just wait a couple months. That thing's gonna probably plummet in price at some point. You'd have to imagine clearance aisles and stuff. But
I mean, it was already cheap recently.
Yeah, you just missed a shot. Got down to $350.
Apparently there was you could buy it through Canada Amazon for like even cheaper than that or something.
Although we're telling this person to get a VR headset after they just bought an LG C4 OLED they want to look at.
I mean, it depends. I mean, he's obviously into racing games because he's playing GT7. He got a wheel for it. Like eventually, it's after the wow factor kind of wears out on the TV, I would look into a VR.
What's the bike game? Is it Ride 5? The one that people thought looked like real life on?
Yeah, Ride 5.
Yeah, there's another good race game to try out that OLED with.
The true eventuality is get 2 more of those OLEDs in the PC, and you can have the 3 monitor setup, the side monitors. It'd be good.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Anything at Gamescom? Let's see. Secret Level. This is the Prime Video series. I'll admit, when they first showed it, I think everyone was. I was like, oh, okay, TV. Great, but I looked into it more and I'm interested in it. They got a Mega Man episode. I'm gonna give it a chance.
I actually think that looks kind of cool. It's a cool concept.
There's a Mega Man episode. That's fine. We'll see.
We'll
see what they do with it.
It's gotta be wild for like paying for the rights to make those episodes. There's so many different companies.
How did they get a Concord episode? What is that about? There's like Concords in there.
Sony paid for that.
please.
Let's hope it makes it.
Well, actually,
everything.
There's a PlayStation episode, so I guess there's one that's just going to be like generically about like multiple PlayStation studios.
Oh, cool. Well, there's like an Armored Core or something episode as well.
So I almost feel like it was like, okay, we'll let you do the PlayStation one, but you have to do a Concord one too.
That's like part of the deal. You have to take this.
Yeah.
That's funny. Towerborn, that was another one I'm interested in. They said to go into Steam first, though. That was kind of weird. Like early access Steam, and then it'll go to Xbox later. So that was kind of deflating. Okay. Avowed was also there, and this was an interesting one because it did show up. I believe Iron Lord Podcast had the interview with the developers, and they had a very unfortunate quote. So it's a first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames, and that allows us to get a lot juicier with like the effects, lighting, and all this other stuff. It seems like that game right now is targeting 30 frames per second at minimum. Sounds like it's going to be 30 frames then, or at least that's what their plans are now. They didn't mention performance is the last thing they do. But this kind of at first got lost in the shuffle for Gamescom coverage. And then all of a sudden people noticed it went viral online and it became a big talking point for Avowed. And it seems like it's just been 30 FPS for Redfall, 30 FPS for Starfield, and now it's going to be for Avowed. But the other two, they did patches later on. So I don't know what's going on over there with this whole 30 FPS thing. It just seems strange to not have a performance mode.
It's more cinematic, man. It's just more cinematic.
They got to stop trying to sell people on that with that phrasing. It's like we know we don't like they're like they. I don't know if they think they can still kind of explain it away like that or trick people, but like we know enough now to where it's like, no, you can't do the 20 frames per second cinematic 360 thing anymore because the hardware is just, I think, just too good at this point to not have a performance mode. Expectations too high.
Sounds like they've got a deadline and they just kind of. They're going to have to give us this language until they can.
Well, no, they
patch it later.
They pushed it back because your backlog was too much. So they got to push it to a couple months.
Yeah, doing you a favor. I think, probably it'll probably come down the road. They're probably just running out of time. Like, get this game out. Just like Redfall.
Yep, Starfield was a creative decision until it wasn't. They pushed the patch, so. Yep, that is so unfortunate too to see it with Avowed because everything else about the game so far, like they showed off a lot of gameplay, their impressions. People seemed really happy with the game, but the thing that caught me that I noticed, and I just want to put this out there because the same thing happened with Redfall. They talked about the 30 frames minimum. They've shown it completely on PC at 60 frames.
That's what they're showing with Redfall too, right?
Yes, they had the government issued PCs and the unmarked PCs that ran it at 60 frames. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, it's 30 on consoles on the Series X." Great. So, just saying, the same kind of situation here with that. You got to show it off at 30. That's the baseline. That's the target. Let's see. We had. Squid Game Unleashed, Netflix mobile game. I wrote down unfortunate. So there you go. Flowtopia, Sean was excited about that. He typed in all caps, so I assume he was jumping up and down. It looks like it's Animal Crossing on clouds with farming.
What more could you ask for?
I know. But it did lead into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Got the release date. It's December 9th. They had one more thing. And they put the PS5 logo up on screen and they said spring 2025. That was the one more thing from Microsoft. Which was kind of crazy. You look back on it, it's like the one more thing is supposed to be the part that hypes the people up. You could have been like, one more thing, demo available now. Like, oh, cool. All right, I'll go check it out. One more thing, PS5 version next year.
Crazy.
That's
wild,
crazy, right?
Like a one more thing. One more thing. Hey, it's coming a different system. Like, yeah. I've never seen that before. Like, for like a one more thing. Like that's worse than what was it? Fast and the Furious. Like that's
oh, dude, that was crazy.
The Game Awards. That's worse than that, man. Because at least that was a new game, like that we didn't know about, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, this was weird to see that because they're not even going to give the Xbox a shot at the holiday season with this game. It's just, you just wait. PS5 version next year. Who cares? Seems strange. They could have announced it in January, February. And like, yeah, it's out in April or May. They did that with the 4 games they brought over to PlayStation. They were announcing them and they were out like 30 or 40 days later, a few of them. So it's strange to me that they gave it this kind of a runway for the PS5 when the Xbox version isn't even out yet. It's not until December 9th.
Why are you questioning this? Phil is running a business, okay? He's a businessman. He's running a business. Don't question it. You know? That's it.
I do. I have the transcript of exactly what you're talking about right here.
Oh, I was talking about what Major Nelson said to me.
Oh, you did get called out by Major Nelson.
Called out by Major Nelson. Did you guys compare gamer scores? Whose gamer score is higher?
I don't deal with fake stolen valor people.
Damn.
Like I legit thought that he had like a military background, and that's why his name was Major Nelson for like the longest time. And then I was like, oh,
should have saluted him, bro.
What
you doing, man? Come on now.
So Sean basically got ratioed into oblivion by Major Nelson.
Did I? I didn't look. Brett,
I want to see it.
I never look at my Twitter reply unless it's something that like if I talk about video games, I never look at my Twitter replies. If I talk about like wrestling or music or the Knicks or something, I always look at my Twitter replies because that's what I'm interested in hearing people talk about with me. I don't care about your video game opinion. That's your deal. So yeah, Brett sent me a screenshot. He was like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "No," and then I said some choice words to Brett.
Somebody linked
what happened?
Somebody in the chat, or John, do you have this man getting ratioed?
He yelled about Xbox or something.
I said when Nate announced that it was happening before Gamescom, I put out a tweet said, "What are we doing here?" And then
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, Major Nelson.
He's running a business.
Running a business. Okay.
He did ratio to oblivion.
I feel like that's code for the people above him made him do something. I don't like. It's like, all right, cool.
Like I think obviously that is what's happening here, but we're talking from a logical perspective.
Yeah, I found it.
But then he said that Phil Spencer said that as an exact quote afterwards.
Running a business.
Yeah, he did say he's running a business. That's true.
He's running. Listen, he's running a business. They've got to sell copies. See, people get upset when I was saying that, like, yo, when we would say Game Pass, you can't just do Game Pass. You need game sales. You know, like you need people buying games. You can't just do subscription services and that's it. And then you also, I mean, you can do just subscription services, but you have to be gaining. Like, you have to be like actually getting a bunch of new people each year. Like, you got to be increasing your numbers a lot. You can't just be like, oh yeah, 30 million. Okay, yeah, 30 million. Like around 30. It's got to be going up. If you're not going up, you got to actually sell games. Like, people was like, no, you can just do game. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. They're gonna raise the price. People like, no, they raise the price. I'm like, look, they're gonna put games on other systems because people aren't buying games enough. No, you're just a hater. Okay, well, look now. Now they're putting like all the stuff that we talked about. John, I don't know if you remember this, but all the stuff that we talked about years ago.
We've been talking about this for a year.
Yeah, all the stuff that we talked about is happening. People were mad, getting upset, and trying to call us out saying we don't know what we're talking about. But you got to sell games, guys. Like, you can't just do subscription services all day. Like, so it makes sense, but it's just like, I think Sean's like the timing, right? Like, like, why are you doing, like, you can like give it the holiday or give it whatever, give it that, and then you can announce it later.
Or you could have announced it earlier.
I mean,
or
you
mean like when
do day and date. Like, if you're gonna do, like, just do day and date. It's like, if you're gonna, like, what's the point of waiting?
Like, honestly, because to be perfectly honest with you, out of all of Xbox games, Indiana Jones makes the most sense because you have that Disney license. So you could have just been like, yeah, it's expensive, so we're having it's a strategic thing. We have to do it with this game, but instead you lead people astray. You do your interviews in the earlier part of the year where you make it essentially seem like, it's going to be an exclusive on Xbox. Because now now all doubts. Now you have to doubt every game. You have to doubt Fable. You have to doubt Perfect Dark. You have to doubt all of these games until proven otherwise with this. And it's just part of their mixed messaging and mixed marketing that, I think so many people are starting to, I guess, catch on to, because now it's like, okay.
So, it's the thing about this is, are we going to talk about how this game was clearly not going to come to PlayStation 5 and it was only a recent decision?
Yeah, because that was with the FTC, right? They basically said we restructured the deal.
Pete Hines told the FTC this when he was questioned, which is when they acquired Bethesda, Microsoft was able to renegotiate and amend the deal with Disney at the time, which would have included a multi-plat release. And that was that was only a few years ago when they acquired Bethesda. They were still planning to do traditional exclusivity. And now it's a U-turn of they amended the deal. They excluded PlayStation 5 and now they're doing PS5. I feel like the only reason why this game is slightly delayed on PS5 is because they have to make it. If they could do day and date, they would probably do it. Like if you look at Doom: The Dark Ages, which is going to be multi-plat day and date, that game is further away, and they probably were never in a situation where they had to put down PlayStation 5 dev kits. Whereas this game, there was probably a short window where when they were working on PlayStation 5, they put the game down for a little bit. So, I know it's I think frustrating for Xbox fans and anybody else looking at all their first party studios, wondering why is it so inconsistent? Well, it sort of has to be just due to the sheer nature of how this was structured. If they're only just now deciding to do it, they can't just make games overnight. Yeah. So whatever, depending on how far along certain versions are, that's kind of where we're at right now. Like Starfield would probably take a long time to get a PS5 version up and going, right? Because clearly they were beelining PC and Xbox at that point. So I think that's kind of where we are. That's why it's going to be so muddy for the next 6 months to a year with all these games getting rumored and then released. It's a lot of these studios that were properly under the Xbox Game Studios umbrella that never had PlayStation 5 dev kits, like Playground Games. And, they're going to, it's going to take even longer for some of them to get these PS5 versions up and going, assuming that's the long-term plan.
Josie, what do you think about this? You've been very vocal this entire episode. I wanted to get
I don't know. None of this stuff makes I don't know.
I really feel about console exclusivity, Josie, since you're a bit younger.
I think it gives you a reason to buy a console, so I don't really understand this whole thing, but I don't know if I should speak on it because I have such little experience in the industry as
someone might come along and say Phil is running a business to you. But I mean, let's take for example the Batman Arkham VR game. I am buying a MetaQuest 3 to play that, because it's not available on the VR headset I have now. I don't know, man.
Will you be mad if it eventually is 2 months later?
But hey, the MetaQuest 3, if he buys it, maybe he likes it more.
The thing with that is, how the fuck are you not making a Batman skinned MetaQuest 3 that comes with it? It's yes, that's
we could spray paint it black and just give it the 2 little things. Then we could do it.
Damn it! It needs to be
Yeah, I see Sean do it it is.
No, the way that Sean would wear that on screen.
Starts grabbing people. I'm in the game.
No, I don't like Christian Bale's Batman. It bothers the fuck out of me. I'd be more like Keaton for sure, or even fucking Val Kilmer. I didn't think he was too bad. He was
gonna go buy an outfit like a spirit or something. Gonna go buy a Batman outfit.
John, that'd actually be pretty cool if you should do that if you do a video on it. Order the whole Batman costume and wear that and just have a camera recording you while you're playing.
Terrorize my family with it.
It'd be the best cameo ever if you actually got Val Kilmer to come out and play it with you.
Or I could probably just hire Val Kilmer odd cameo. I can't imagine he would be too much.
Son, you gotta do that, bro.
See, he's not. He's only $150, but he's out of stock. God damn it.
Out of stock.
Val Kilmer out of stock.
He turned off his thing.
He's probably behind. He's probably behind. He's probably behind on a lot of them.
Is Keaton on there?
We watched Sean do 2 cameos in
his hotel room.
Oh my god!
From his bed, just sitting there.
Oh yeah, I did.
Phone on his stomach, just like I got this.
Yeah,
Do you ever tell anyone you're out of stock on Cameo?
No. Like anytime anyone wants one, I'm available.
Out of stock. I ran all out of me.
There's a Batman puppet.
What?
But of course there is. Like
the Batman of San Antonio. He's only $20.
Yeah, but you're probably have to fly him out or something. I don't.
Ryan, are you happy to hear that it seems like a lot of Xbox games are just going to continue going to PlayStation?
Happy?
Yeah, like
indifferent.
Jones,
I believe would be the word.
Like, I'm thinking of, like you're big, like you like going after platinum trophies and that kind of thing. It's just like all these Xbox games going to show up there where you can keep collecting your trophies and keep in the PlayStation ecosystem.
I've been pretty vocal about this. I like the traditional console model. The fact that they're doing this means they're not doing well. I don't like that.
I mean, don't say that.
I would like a healthy business where like Microsoft is selling a lot of Xboxes and there's 3 platform holders. I don't want to be in a position where like it's just Sony that's got this clear runway to sell consoles and they're the default brand that just in the high end space. It's like you don't want that. So it's like I find the whole discussion fascinating because clearly it was like a pretty big internal struggle. I don't think Team Xbox wanted to do this. It became a lot of corporate pressure from the CTO and the CEO and wanting to appease shareholders after 2 years of, year-over-year declines for Xbox hardware. Like it's a fascinating thing to talk about. But if you're asking me on a personal level, I wish they were doing better. I think Series X is awesome. I like it way more than Xbox One.
Yeah,
so
it is a better system. It's just outright. Yeah,
it's very good. I agree with what Ryan said, man. I want competition. That's why I always buy all of them, and I'm a fan of the traditional model as well. Like I want exclusives. I want that because I think it brings better games, and yeah, maybe for some people that can't afford all systems, oh well, video games aren't your be all end all. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford it now, you might be able to afford it later. So like that's how it was like when we were growing up. It was like, okay, or you go to a friend's house or whatever, So I get more people play games, but I do think that there is something with bringing that competition, with the exclusives and to the market. Now, maybe it doesn't affect Microsoft. Maybe it's different, right? Maybe they can still make something that's just as good. But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want, I don't want it to be less. I don't want them to not be able to sell systems, and like that's not good. So I agree with all.
Well, yeah, because if we look through history, there was that fantastic moment where Microsoft moved away from physical media, and they had that announcement where the PlayStation guys walked out and went, "This is how you hand other people your game," and they handed them the physical disc to mock Microsoft for making that decision. In a universe where Sony wasn't making a console, that would be your only choice. That'd be it. You'd have no say in it. Like, it's good to have this for that reason alone. It brought Microsoft back to physical media.
Remember the guy reporter from Batman 1989, Robert Wool? The guy who was trying to work with Vicky Vale?
Yeah.
He's on Cameo. I can get him for $89.
Okay.
How much?
$89. That seems reasonable.
89?
He was that show Arliss? He did that show Arliss, and then they did a crossover with WCW in like 1999 or 2000. I fucking hated
Why do you
that
know
guy.
this?
Because I know obscure things. That's what 95% of my memory is.
Yeah, I will say this: Phil Spencer did have his podcast interview thing that didn't really see a lot of questions about what he was saying. I noticed that he said some interesting things that I would have wanted to follow up with. For example, he mentioned that their player numbers are going up for the console platform. They're the strongest they've ever been. In fact, our console players are as high this year as they've ever been. So console Xbox players.
Yeah, if you sell 1 million copies of Sea of Thieves on PlayStation 5, he says console
Xbox
players
consoles, and I assume he's talking about Xbox specifically, like an Xbox. But I thought about that too. I was like, I wonder if if in his mind, if he said something that didn't match up with what he was thinking, like he's thinking, oh yeah, all these people who are signed into Xbox Live on like a Microsoft account on PlayStation or whatever, right?
No, he says
Xbox console.
No, the quote is, what I see when I look at is that our franchises are getting stronger and our Xbox console players are as high as they've ever been. So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. So the second portion there, he's saying console platform in a more generic sense. To me, they're clearly counting some of these games are now shipping on play. And the whole context is that the business is changing.
That's why I would have asked. I would have followed up like, what do you mean by that? Hold on, consoles like Xbox? Or
that person was not there to ask any damn
I know.
question. She was just not. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, like she was not.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing anything.
Well, that's important context. This was an Xbox live stream on their channel, which means all answers and questions were like carefully crafted and vetted.
Did you see one of the last things he said? Because he kind of alluded to the idea of this being industry wide, not necessarily just an Xbox situation, which was kind of odd to me because we've talked about Microsoft running the Game Pass experiment and it doesn't seem to have panned out like how they wanted to, and they're shifting currently. But he said the last thing I'll say is that I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking at ways to grow further. I think us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate that there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. So
yeah, my issue with that quote is like he's right. But everybody's already doing it. They're just doing it in the ways that make sense for them. Like if we consider PlayStation in this case, which I think everyone's sort of looking at that, it's like, well, yeah, they are. They're now building a mobile division within PlayStation Studios. They're shipping PC games. They're shipping some of them day and date, which 10 years ago, that's not something they were doing meaningfully. But if you consider Microsoft's position, they're the ones that have to now start shipping on a competitor. Right. I don't think that's going to be the case for somebody like Sony, where they don't have to conceivably do that. The upside for them is like what, 5-10% more if they start in terms of like sheer revenue, if they start shipping games on Xbox hardware. They're not really in a position where they feel that pressure. I just don't see that happening for Sony. They're already expanding and changing in a way that makes sense for them.
I think that what he also means, maybe they're shipping Horizon right on Switch and they're doing more PC. I think that's what he was meaning. And I think eventually Nintendo will say, okay, let's put something on PC. I know people think no, it'll never happen, but people said that about mobile. People said they're never going to do mobile, and they did mobile. So I think eventually Nintendo will say, okay, if we put Mario Sunshine on PC, is that a problem? Like down the line, or if we put some type of classic game, sell it for $30 or $40, whatever they want to sell it for. I don't know what they would, but would that really be a problem? And we can sell 500,000 copies, or we can sell a couple 100,000 copies. Like that would be.
Ain't nobody buying Sunshine. Come on, be real. Fuck that game.
I'm just saying. I put a random game. I'm just saying. I do think eventually it is going to move towards everybody kind of doing more multi-plat or other stuff. Like I do see that as maybe there might be opportunities for Sony to use the Xbox base for a multiplayer game in the future, that it's not going to necessarily move systems for them, but maybe it'd be good to have a bigger player base, right? So I think, but yes, I agree with what Ryan's saying. It's not going to be to the level probably anytime soon of what Microsoft is doing, and obviously Nintendo's not looking at it that way, but I do feel that the industry is moving in kind of like, why not at least minimum PC, bare minimum, just get everything on PC, maybe a game or two on a different platform that, that's not your own.
Yeah, I think Microsoft should just really consider going all in at this point. Just decide one way or the other. We're gonna have everything be multi-platform, or like none of it. But it's just so strange. They're kind of in this weird in-between spot. Maybe it is development time, like you're saying, Ryan. But at this point, just go become the biggest publisher in gaming. And
their next system will. I think their next system is going to be like a Steam machine, or
that's what everybody's looking at. And everyone's like everyone's written off the Xbox Series generation. We're thinking about the next one now. Already.
They're thinking about. They're the ones who keep on mentioning it. They're thinking about the next one.
It's crazy.
Mentioned it 3 times.
Yeah,
they've mentioned it multiple times now. So they're thinking about it.
4 years in, that's how long the original. Nate mentioned that again and reminded me that's how long the original Xbox lasted. So in their mind, hey, if we launch in 2026, we'll get ahead of Sony and we'll do something weird and disruptive, and maybe that's the strategy. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, if you have think about if they did something. I know Destin talked about this. If they have like a box where it can you can have Steam on there, you can have the Xbox store, you can have your cloud stuff, and there's like a handheld Logitech G Cloud thing. It's just like, anybody can put the games on there. That might be pretty compelling, I mean, that might be pretty cool. So let's see what they do.
It's called the ROG Ally.
Yeah, but what if this could do it better?
Yeah, what if it can do it better and it's like stronger and it's like and it's not faster. ROG Ally, and it's like,
can I put emulators on it? Like why can't I just put a PC in my living room that does that and more?
Well, maybe this is more intuitive.
Yeah, maybe it's more like with the thing about putting a PC in the living room. That's not the same as a console, though. Like, I mean, some people like to have that console type of experience.
Oh yeah, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, like not everybody wants to take a PC and like do it that way. Now, don't get me wrong, you can do that, but there's a reason why consoles exist because people don't want to do that with PCs half the time. Because people just want the easier way. So if they can make that PC experience and make it like to where Steam failed or Valve failed with making Steam machines, if Microsoft can make a really good Steam machine with Xbox, like a hybrid type of thing, that and with a handheld component that you can play your cloud games or whatever the hell it is, or you can use your ROG Ally with it, or you can use your Steam Deck or whatever the case is, I think that would be compelling. I think it would be pretty cool.
What would that push Sony to do though? Like nothing, right? I mean, they would just have their spot
they'd have to do
out
something.
in the
Sony would definitely have to do something because if Steam is on this new Xbox, that means a bunch of PlayStation games are on the new Xbox.
They would block them.
They'd have to do something. They'd be like, "Oh, hold on a minute."
No, you can't do that. If the games are,
it's all contract based. They probably could.
Oh my goodness!
They blocked what's that service? The cloud service
for streaming for
streaming.
They blocked it on GeForce Now, I think it was.
Right.
Or no, it was Xbox. It was cloud streaming because Death Stranding went to Game Pass PC.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So they had they blocked it. They figured out a way to do it. So I don't know how they would go about that, but they would definitely react, and I feel like that would push them over the edge to make a launcher.
I mean, as far as they should still be doing one now, as far as I know.
But yeah, Josie, that would definitely make Sony react. Which, by the way, I do want to bring this up as our last topic, Josie, because you seem very excited about this. About the Nintendo Museum. There was a full direct. You said you streamed this thing, huh? You checked it out?
Well, I was already gonna stream because I thought we were streaming MEO, but last second switch over to DKC3. But I watched it just because I was live and it was kind of cool. I mean, I'm not in the area, but if I ever go to Japan, like I definitely like to visit it. It seems like a great way to do a museum. It's the most Nintendo way they could have possibly done it. I guess.
Celia, Sean, you guys are all going over there?
Yeah, Sean's gonna pay for it if Celia and I beat him in wave race. So really excited my free trip.
Whoa.
I'm completely confident in it because what happens on every episode of Battle of the Sexes is Nate and I will actually like practice and familiarize ourselves, and they just go in blind. So it's always,
except for the Pokemon one. But
yeah, but I didn't practice that one. And I should have won anyway.
Yeah, now money is on the line. He's probably doing it right now. He's not actually watching GCW.
I'll be practicing wave. Well, I already played.
No, Mance Warner just went through a table.
He's just throwing that out as a smokescreen. He's sitting there on his couch, just like, I got to do this.
Well, we had the Nintendo Museum Direct, which we just talked about expansion from Sony and Microsoft. Nintendo is doing some interesting things now to try to figure out ways to expand, and apparently one of them now is a museum that has interactive events on the first floor, and then on the top floor they have all kinds of. Apparently, they are missing some stuff. People were like posting things on social media that there were things like apparently a 64 DD. They don't have that. I saw that mentioned. I was like, "There's no way. That's got to be there." So when the grand opening happens, people need to go and confirm some of this stuff because this is kind of getting thrown around right now. I need this. There has to be one because they have the exercise bike for the Super Nintendo there.
One of our they have all sorts of weird stuff there, like that Ultra Hand thing and all that.
Yeah,
like Minato Mario, who comes here, supports. He's on my streams too. He's gonna be there. He's already got his ticket, so he's gonna take some footage and some video stuff, and we're gonna take a look at it. He'll be there day one so he's already got it ready to go. So I'm interested in seeing like his footage from like first person perspective or whatever he gets.
So they have the top floor that's basically go there. You can look at everything, no touching. You can look at all the stuff. Just not allowed to check the stuff out technically, but it's all behind glass. It's really well done. Like it looks nice. They have the big controllers, big switch hanging from the ceiling, and it just looks like aisles of well-lit shelves that you walk down and look at. And they have it progressing through different franchises or series, specifically the visuals and the art styles through the years. And then I guess the big thing people are going for really are the interactive sections where when you buy a ticket, you get 10 coins or something. And then you can use those to do any of the events. They showed one that was just light gun, one where they had a massive Famicom controller, and they also had a massive Wii remote. So
yeah, those are crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
This huge Wii remote up and like try to play Wii Sport. I don't know, Wii Sports or something. There's all kinds of stuff happening there.
You kind of know they're expecting those to break, so you know there's more than just those like in a building somewhere.
How do we buy those? That's the question.
Well,
somebody likes Mario.
Now, it's going to be on whatever eBay is called then.
Somebody likes Mario 3. Somebody was like, all right, the big world, like, how can we do that? Like IRL.
Yeah.
Let's try it. All right, this is it.
Yeah, some of that stuff looked crazy. Like that, I wouldn't mind going for that part. The light gun stuff, I feel like I've done that. Then the other thing they showed was just in a bedroom or office room.
Maybe batting cages.
It's a batting cage.
That
guys. Weird.
That was very strange. They give it, so apparently the amount of coins they give you, it's not enough to do all the events there for the day. So you have to pick and choose what you're doing. And you cannot buy more coins, so they do not want you lingering.
You can't buy more coins?
No, you have to re-sign up to go back to get more.
Day. Yeah.
You think someone like walks out from a door somewhere and just like follows you around, just like, please leave.
I think you're done. I think they're so Evan and I know this because the stores we would work at had this concept of being able to pay for time at a station, and we had times where people would never leave. Well, they'd leave when we shut the place down finally. Otherwise, they were basically like they'd pay and they'd be there the entire 12 hours, open to close, they'd be there. Wow. And I'm almost envisioning Nintendo like we could sell these coins and we're gonna deal with these people in this one station forever. So
if you don't set limits, people are going to use your place as a daycare, and that would be crazy for the Nintendo freaking museum.
I had flashbacks as soon as I read that. I was like, "That's weird." And then I thought back, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." I kind of get it now, thinking about what we dealt with because we dealt some craziness back then. You're right. One time, a mom came by, and it was definitely like they were off. The kids were off school that day, and she came in, and I feel like there's a mom and the dad there. They came in, they paid like $50. That was enough for like 6 or 7 hours. And they just left. The kids were just there.
That's
and we're like, what? Kids were like 10, 11. We're like, are we supposed to watch these kids? Because that's not.
Yeah, that's
worth
not
$10
at
an hour.
all what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and they just left. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, they got a cell phone. They're good. Are they? What? And they just left. The kids did hang out and play games in like front of the TV in the station we had, but it was still like, got to make sure no one walks off with these kids or something.
Yeah, or they just like leave. Like, what can we say? We're not their parents. They just walk out the front door, be like, later, and just wander off.
Yeah, so that was. I don't think it would come to that, but I was envisioning people basically taking up stations in what looked like limited areas for that. But I feel like everyone's just going to go for the big controllers anyway. It's like, do I want to do big controllers? Or do I want to go do light gun? Probably the big controllers. So that'd be a whole line for that anyway. But I mean, it's an interesting take on a museum. It's Nintendo doing Nintendo things. I don't think I would travel to Japan specifically for it, but I guess if I'm there, I would at least make a stop off as like a tourist attraction or something. So I don't know. Are you, Sean? You're going there if you lose Wave Race. So I hope your Switch dies on you and Josie wins by default.
No, I have to pay for them to go.
You don't even get to go? Oh, no. Man.
Well, he doesn't want to go.
Yeah,
I think we should do a Game and Talk field trip is what I suggested. And he was like, I'm not going to Japan.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not going to Japan.
Are we going to do some sort of field trip when Super Nintendo World opens in Florida?
Potentially. Because I can see my mom while I'm there.
Okay, cool. We can all go to Florida.
And meet your mom.
And then if there's time, we can go to Super Nintendo World.
At Sean's mom's house.
Well, she doesn't. That's in Orlando, right? She used to live near Orlando, but now she moved to the Gulf Coast. But so yeah,
Gene Park will go. Gene Park will beat your mom.
It's fine. He can come.
Oh yeah, Gene, you want to? Okay, good. Gene's in. All right, we're just gonna get like 100 people to go to Super Nintendo World for that weekend. Everyone just go to Super Nintendo World all at once. Let me go over to Streamlabs as we finish up here. Oh, did I miss any chats here? Okay. Echo says, is Colt Eastwood still holding the line?
I don't think the line's gone, bro. It's gone.
Blurred lines now.
Mr. Sheik says console wars are for people over 30 who probably should have better things to do. Chad says now playing Ship of Harkinian on my Switch. Ocarina of Time mod with 1080p textures, 60 FPS, and a controllable camera on right stick. Game changer. Wow. Yum Yum says, why can't Microsoft innovate the Surface Go brand as a gaming handheld and put an Xbox logo on it? Maybe like a barebone controller with like a backbone controller. I think they're probably going to just do their own handheld. So I think it's going to be this weird thing where we circle all the way back around and everyone just has handhelds again, which I think is kind of exciting actually. So give it a couple years though. Claw says, hello all, with Sony blocking games on Xbox hybrid cause regulatory issues. US and EU courts have been looking at app stores more heavily lately. Oh, I didn't think of that. I don't know. I almost wonder if Microsoft would file something if that happened or do some kind of complaint if that happened. That's going to be such a weird thing if they go down that path.
Yeah, I feel like if the walls are torn down completely, why are you making a console anymore, right? Like if you're supposed to seal yourself off and have specific games, then what are you doing if anyone can go to it? It's just like, all right.
I don't know. That's weird.
Why is JBL here? Why is JBL? He just came in the ring and like cleared the ring. It's a ladder match, a 3-way for the championship belt. And for some reason, he came out and helped Vance Warner.
I don't know.
Star of the show's there. Panado Mario says, minor correction, OJ, I only registered the ticket lottery, so I only know if I can buy the ticket at September 1st. I have not got ticket yet.
Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry about that.
I forgot they have a lottery just to get a ticket to get in. Wow.
That's probably going to last for a while.
The demand is crazy for that museum right now. That is wild stuff. Those big controllers, all you need. Just need like a 6-foot long Wii remote and nunchuck, and that'll do it. Go around here. I'll check out Streamlabs as we finish up. Josie, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Josie Woe. I do Nintendo content and stuff like that. So I'll have some videos up this week and I stream occasionally. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
South Coast Horizon says, what is the panel thoughts take on NHL 25 being Series X and PS5 exclusive? Do y'all really believe that EA is going to push that much of a better game with it being a yearly sports title? I really wish I had more knowledge of NHL, the game specifically.
I mean, college football was PS5 and Xbox Series only, and I think Madden is too, right? Like, I don't know if Madden's on.
Oh, I don't know. Is Madden? I feel like Madden is Madden next one.
Anyway, I know college football's only on PS5 and Xbox Series, so I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they do another one like this, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the game will be better. It's hard to say. We still haven't really seen that on a lot of sports games other than college football. So, what about Ryan? Where can everyone find you, dude?
You can find me over on YouTube at Mystic Ryan, covering the world of PlayStation every single week. Thank you for having me, John. Good conversation tonight.
Click R3 coming up.
Click R3. Yeah, we got to record tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think it's going to be a good episode.
Can't wait to miss more major PlayStation news by the time it's posted.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're going to post it Monday, Concord free to play.
It's the curse.
It'd be crazy if that happens.
Is that really news, though?
Well, yeah.
What you got to do is you got to record Click R3, assuming it's already that way. Just talk like it's already happened, and then post it and see what happens.
Just talk about news that hasn't happened yet.
Let's see. This is from Matt Booty, who says, "Do you think it will end up being problematic if PS5 Pro is the best place to play Xbox games?" Well,
yes.
That's maybe.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask a PS5 Pro owner, they're like, "No, it's great." If you have an Xbox Series X owner, they're probably annoyed. So, what about? Let me go over to OJ. We're going to find you.
Yeah, you can find me right here, YouTube Player Essence. Cover Nintendo and RPG content. Got some cool Black Myth Wukong videos that I'm going to be putting up. Got some other stuff as well that I'm working on. Some marathon streams we're going to be doing with a lot of giveaways and prizes and stuff. So it's going to be like a summer marathon thing, which should be happening in the next couple of weeks. We're planning that. And yeah, I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, but I should have some videos like RPG stuff, looking more into that, getting ready for Metaphor Refantazio, at Game of the Year potential, right, Sean? Game of the Year potential. So yeah. So check out the channel, Player Essence. Thanks for having me on once again, John.
Sean, where can I find you?
You can find me on RGT85. Have a review going up Monday for a game that it's a video game. That much can be said. So be sure to tune into my thoughts on that. Tomorrow's video is kind of interesting. It involves a topic that shockingly was not covered on this show. So, well, you don't have the foresight to do it. You probably didn't even hear about it. It's probably a throwaway comment in a Newswave episode. But yeah, be sure to check that out. Be sure to look out for the Art of N64 Wrestling Games book. My liaison is in fucking Germany for his birthday, and I'm like, check your goddamn email to see if the final copy has been sent over. He's like, I'm busy. Fucking idiot. So hopefully I'll have enough. I don't fucking care. Check your goddamn email. All you have to do is fucking check your email and then forward me the email. That's literally all you have to do. You are the liaison. But hopefully I'll have an update this week. So,
okay. Yeah. Thank you. What about Evan?
Oh, you can find me here on YouTube, Kimmerix Project, also on Twitter, X, as we like to call it. That's anything tabletop. A lot of big announcements, actually. Recently, I just put a video out because they're changing a big rule set. We'll be taking a look at once it drops, which is good. And hopefully I can get some more videos filmed since I'm kind of moving in here and I have all my stuff here. So it's been looking forward to that.
Rolling up to that 10K mark for subs.
Yeah, getting there slowly.
Good stuff. And I had Cinder says, what's up, Josie? Love your sweatshirt. Where can people pick one up?
Oh, I'm wearing my merch.
Is that your merch? Yeah, it's your merch right there. Okay.
Do you just go onto YouTube, you scroll over to the shop page, or it might say store, one of the two, right there. It's also underneath most of my videos.
Okay. You go, Cinder. You can check it out. And Tijo says, just a heads up, it's not confirmed. Apparently, Universal Orlando will only sell multi-park, multi-day tickets when Epic Universe opens. Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that. We might be able to make a whole event out of that, depending. So, it'll be good. I think that's everything there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for the Spawncast. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Maybe stuff happens this week. We'll see. Maybe. All right, we'll see you guys then.